Hi there, my name is Jeremiah. For as long as I can remember, I've had an almost morbid fascination with anything and everything paranormal, especially those things that venture into the darkest recesses of our primal fears and spark the thoughts that for most would be the stuff of nightmares. In 2007, this fascination, along with some unexplainable experiences, led me to start a paranormal research team known today as Everyday Legacy Paranormal. Then in 2011, a road trip led myself and a close friend into the darkest places we had ever been. That was the beginning of Road Trip Paranormal. Now, while still active with them, I no longer lead either of those teams, but the people that make them up are the best friends a guy like me could ask for. Myself, along with Jason, Leo, Roth, Max, and Michelle are reaching out to share our passions for everything odd, fringe, and paranormal with the world. We are Cryptic Heartland.
And here we are. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Cryptic Heartland podcast, where everything is fair game, nothing's off the table, and we're not afraid to poke the bear. And Leo's not paying attention to a damn thing. You're usually my backup on that, man. Where'd you go?
Well, the bear's not in the room right now, so I can't poke. Oh, there it is. Speak of the bear. Now I can poke away. This is episode number 39.
How is that possible?
God, I know, right? I started this fun thing about a year ago, a little over a year ago. No, less than a year ago, I'm sorry. It started in May.
Yeah.
And we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary, which we'll have a fun show for that, too, coming up, so stay tuned for that.
What are we doing?
It's a surprise, right? Okay. They don't even know quite yet. But yeah, this is 39, and tonight we have a special guest in studio. We'll go around the room here and introduce everybody. But before we do, I got something to say. How about them Jayhawks, baby?
Yeah, Final Four, baby.
Hell yeah. I had to do it, man. I had to do it. All right.
I'm still on the high, like
yeah.
you said. You know, I'm just.
We were all rushing in last minute after watching the game, and they made it to the Final Four. So hopefully next week we're still in good moods by Sunday, because
they had to go into overtime.
What are the chances of having a sunflower showdown?
they lost last night, K-State. Yeah, but
Well.
that's okay. Yeah, that's why you play the game. I mean, for the opportunity to try to get that, I can't think. I'm out of words, man. I'm still. I'm surprised I have the voice as much as I was yelling. So, but anyways, my name is Leo. And to my left, I got Jason, the bear. Jeremiah is the man behind the scenes here, and our special guest is. You want to introduce him, since you kind of know more about him?
This is Nathan. He reached out to us here just a few days ago, actually, and hopefully he's got a lot of questions for us tonight.
I did. Happy to be here.
Yeah, definitely.
A little confused about the bear thing because I've heard from everybody that. So I think we've got multiple bears. So we must have a bear.
No, there's just one bear.
Okay.
Just one bear.
Only one that squeaks when you poke him.
Okay.
Sometimes we're not sure which.
We could go into the other nicknames.
Oh my God.
Littlefoot and
Rouge.
shits with giggles
Baby
and
Rouge.
Yeah, little.
Ruby.
Little shits with giggles.
Oh, there's more. There's more. Don't worry.
There's more.
Whew. All right.
All right. So we're all jazzed up, ready to do this, and
Just before
Go ahead.
before we start, like and share this video and spread the word for Cryptic Heartland and everybody on this.
also don't forget to
Ow.
subscribe to the actual channel, to the Cryptic Heartland channel. Also, we have the ELP channel, Everyday Legacy Paranormal. We also have our social media websites and everything else.
You bet.
Like them all.
No.
Do it.
Yes. Okay.
Do it. Tell your friends. Tell your grandmothers. Tell your anybody. Just tell everybody.
Just go do it.
That's right. All right.
So what's new?
Share this video while we're at it. Right now. Just Just hit the share button. Do it. You know you want to.
That's right. What's new?
What's new?
I have no idea. No, I'm kidding.
No?
I'm still trying to calm down, like I said, and I was not speeding over. For our police viewers anywhere, I was driving here normal paced and got here on time. But not much. I mean, there's been a lot of interesting things in the news lately. I've kind of seen a couple of new Bigfooting videos that one was found on a trail cam, looks like an actual ape. Which
I did see that.
either took it from the zoo or not the one walking. That was actually an actual silverback, but there's one that was supposedly on trail cam. It turns back at the right second and you can see its face and it looks definitely like an ape. But I don't know.
Did you see the video of the trail cam that was going around? It shows supposedly it's night vision, and the Sasquatch is like actually
on their
breaking a stick on the tree and then throws it at the camera and everything like that. It obviously was a fake.
Because that's what you do when you see a trail cam.
Well, it was fake because, I mean,
Yeah.
night vision, you don't see the shadows like you were seeing on this. What they did was they totally edited the whole thing. And, I mean, it's a sham, and that's what pisses me off is the fact that people are constantly still faking everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if Bigfoot is real, then this gives
Oh,
them that.
not if. I'm kidding.
How do you guys know? That's right off
That's
the bat.
a great question.
How do you know?
We've had our own personal encounters with them.
Right.
Out during investigations, going looking for ghosts and other things, and we came across not just once, multiple locations. Well, we've never physically seen it. Well, I say that. We thought we've seen them with Brendan.
Brendan's actually seen it.
Yeah, in
He
the
had
same
a
location.
full-on encounter with it while we were down in Oklahoma.
And yeah, this location is isolated. It's up in the Ozark Mountains.
Okay.
And to get there, you have to drive. There's only one road that comes up there. And
That's awesome.
yeah, so it's pretty isolated. It's on the side of a mountain, and while the rest of the team was out doing other things, it was myself, Brendan, and another member of our group who also does Bigfoot in Kansas, and then my sister, who's part of the VLP. We were in our RV waiting for, just kind of hanging out and discussing some evidence and stuff, and there was a couple of dogs on property, two big old pit bulls, or what are they? They're what's their? Do you know what kind of bears? Are they pit bulls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
yeah.
That didn't sound right in my head.
They're not bears.
And I was
Did you say
kinda-
what kind of bears?
No. I can't remember.
okay.
Well,
one's name
is after a bear. Indian name for
And I
bear.
kind of told him a little bit
Did
about
you?
the story a
Okay.
little bit,
But yeah, we hear the dogs. They're pretty docile for the most part, but they are protectors of us, of people they don't even know. They guard the property, and they just start going ballistic. And we're like, what is happening here? And then we look out, and from the front of the RV, and probably like I said, 10 to 20 yards is something crouched in the brush right there. You can see it plain as day, and it's just like, what are we looking at here? So we go out, and as soon as we get out there, the thing dissipates, gone in the woods, and you can hear it breaking the branches, and we try to track it. We look down, because at the time it had been raining a little bit. It was starting to come down, a little bit of rain, and you could see the grass matted down and then starting to rise a little bit where something had been standing there, and the footprints were there. They were still there the next day.
Yeah, because I almost
Yeah,
stepped on it.
Yep.
I think
Brendan had a
Brendan
count.
just, he actually smacked my leg.
Is that your
And
son?
I was like, well,
No, Brendan's
he's
the Bigfoot in Kansas
Bigfoot
guy.
in Kansas.
Oh,
Yeah, Brendan,
absolutely,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was too wet and damp to cast a mold, unfortunately. But that wasn't the first time we've had this down in the same location. We've seen actual footprints, big footprints, and we've seen shelters. We've seen tree bins. I know people at one point are like, yes, we've heard the story a million times.
but that was just in
Yeah.
Oklahoma. you
Yeah,
know,
that's one
and
location.
I've been out with Brendan out in other locations here in
Right.
Kansas, and we've heard all the noises. We've
Yep.
heard the screams. We've heard the rustling in the woods, which we always go tracking down to see what we can find. But
See, that's the thing. As an outsider with
Sure.
with the Bigfoot perspective, now whether you watch the hunting shows on television or if you're into this thing, it always seems to me that they're just out of reach.
Yeah.
Like they're always just a bit smarter than
Right.
we are. So if that's the case, if they are, man, why aren't they watching TV? Why aren't they living the good life? How are they always just out of reach?
Right. And my question is, like I said, I'm sorry, Jason. Is,
No, go ahead.
Especially in this day and age, everybody has one of these with cameras on them, and a phone. I mean, you see all kinds of videos on the internet of this and that. Why can't we get a great, clear video or photograph, for that matter, of these things that we're seeing? And I know we talked about this in previous episodes, even last week, I believe. In the moment, I think we're just dumbfounded, like, what are we looking at? And no, pull my camera out, dummy, and take a picture, shoot something, and by that time it's too gone.
Because as Brendan is seeing this from the RV, he's seeing it. It's about 20 feet away. He said the last thing that was even on his mind was grabbing a camera to do it.
Yeah,
it's 2 in the morning, but he sees it.
The first thing I grabbed was a big ass machete. I'm like, if I'm going out there, I'm not gonna die.
Rambo style.
I'm not gonna die out here. I'm gonna make sure I at least get a couple whacks in before I die. Whatever. I mean, if I needed to. But you think, hey, we got cameras everywhere. You think we would have just picked one up and grabbed one? Nah.
But at the same time, if they're there, they're also watching us.
True.
Sure.
And that's kind
So they're watching us set up stuff all day long. I mean, we're in their territory.
And you're going into their domain, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're also traveling, is from what the research says. And we're not the only researchers. There's researchers been doing this for 30, 40 years of their life.
Yep.
And they suspect that they're traveling the river systems and everything, but they're
Yep.
not always in areas in the city or on the side of the road going, hey, right here, take a picture.
Sure.
They're usually far out in remote areas that people are not at all the time.
But I think as the world gets bigger and the more population that we get, if you notice, there's starting to become more sightings.
There are.
We're slowly
Yep.
taking over their area, and they've got to go somewhere if they're
They
here.
exist, right? Yeah.
I always say go to bfro.net. Is it .net?
.org.
Yeah. .org.
Yeah.
bfro.org. It has sightings for decades that they've registered in there for every city, county, all that of every state.
Even in Kansas, yeah. Which is pretty
Canada, overseas,
cool.
everything.
Not in Hawaii. You mentioned that last
Not over. Not in Hawaii.
They don't know how to swim yet.
Yeah,
They
that's what I
don't know how to
said.
swim
He
yet.
can't swim, or she. But
Now, are they, in your opinion, are they of relation to Homo sapiens?
I almost said homosexuals. I was like, hey man, that's up to them. I'm not gonna judge them. Sorry. Homo sapiens, they're probably the closest thing to it, aside from the ape, I assume.
You got Jeff
by character. Sorry.
Jeff Muldrum, who's an anthropologist for a university. He started out just collecting everything for all chimps, apes, gorilla, everything, and he studied it and that's what he teaches.
Yeah.
It wasn't until people started bringing him castings that he started to take a look at how the mechanical footwork of it.
Sure.
And he was starting to see a pattern of it, and it was actually seeing that it was a real foot making that pattern. With toes, sometimes you can even see the arthritic toe, like off on the side. It's all crooked. And finally, now he's like helping lead the way with research because he believes in it. And he's had his own encounters, I believe, now too, because he's putting himself out there. So you got a large range of people that are actually doing a lot of research on this.
Yeah.
I mean, you take it for what it is. It's how much you want. I still want to get these guys more out into the field to do it.
Yeah.
But it's also going hiking for long distances.
Right.
It's camping overnight. It's tick season. You got to fight that if you're going to go.
And
out
snake.
there. And snake season. I can't stand.
Possibly
that.
mountain lion, Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's go out there and do it.
Line them up.
Yeah,
right.
we forgot to tell Roth about that when we went to Oklahoma last time. They had just had bear sightings.
Yeah.
They had just had mountain lion sightings and stuff, and they.
Okay. And
yeah.
yeah, and there's of course the copperheads down there were out.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I found out, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm in tennis shoes and shorts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
done.
I know how that is, man. I'm skeptical. I'm
Man.
skeptical of the ocean because we're not the top of the food chain of the ocean.
Oh.
So
Yeah, what a little speck.
I was
Yeah.
on-
The
I was
ocean,
It's tasty.
the ocean freaks me out.
Yes.
It really
Yeah, me
does.
too.
It really
and I was
does.
playing a show in Jacksonville, and my bandmates and I, we were in the ocean that day with a couple of the people that were familiar with us in that area,
Uh-huh.
and I'm maybe to my knees, and I'm not a very tall guy, so I'm scared to death. We're throwing a frisbee, and it's just like, okay, a little nervous about what's
Yeah.
going on underneath me.
Yeah.
And one of the girls that was there, she said, Nate, you see those boats there, probably 100 feet off the shore? They're catching bait fish
Right.
for, for the restaurants and stuff like
Sure.
that. So she said they caught a specific type of fish, a mahi, and I believe it was a mahi. And as they're reeling it in, a great white shark came and chased the fish out. I was out of there. So
Yeah.
now that there's mountain lions and
Yeah.
copperheads.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well,
Nature always has a way of kicking our
Kansas-
ass. You know?
These
Yeah.
guys don't mind it.
Nature humbles you.
I say I don't mind it when I go hiking and stuff like that. If you ever notice, I'm always the second one to go in the woods because I let whoever's in front take out the spider webs and everything.
Hey, only one person has to live to tell the story.
Yes.
So I mean, why not that guy be bait?
I'll
You be
stand in the back.
I'm with you on the slowest one.
I was gonna say, you know what the rule
Why
is.
go? Yeah.
You don't have to
Why go?
outrun whatever's chasing you.
Yeah,
You just gotta
exactly.
outrun your friend.
And Roy, trust me, I love you, buddy, but I'm pushing,
Yeah,
I'm pushing
I
your
know,
ass
I
down,
hear you.
and I'm running. He's right there. Get him.
I'm actually just the opposite because I actually prefer to take my chances with whatever's coming up in front of me that I can
Right,
see.
that's true, too.
I'll let you deal with whatever's sneaking up on us from behind.
That's true. Yep. Yep. That is funny.
For some reason, I'm just more terrified about the spider webs and the fact of having a spider crawling on me and biting me.
Right.
No, I'm not a big nature guy, but I'll go out there and do it. If I think about it too much, I won't do it. But the fact I just go out there and with a purpose, I just whatever. It
Yeah.
blocks that, that fear.
Once you get going,
Yeah.
you're on it. You're done.
Yep.
So Nate, tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about yourself and what brings you wanting to contact us and everything. Tell
Okay.
everybody about a little bit what brings you to this.
So that was one of my first questions, and I'm sure we can address that in a little bit because I've already spoken to Jason and Roth about it. But I was curious as to what made Leo and also Jeremiah interested in pursuing the supernatural. For me, first movie I remember watching, to this day it's my favorite movie, Ghostbusters.
I knew you were going to say that.
Ghostbusters.
He means the girl version, by the way.
Yeah, I see Slimer over there. Got a good relationship with Slimer.
Yeah,
So I think from there, this is a big world.
Yeah.
This is a big,
Yeah.
big universe that we're in. There's has to be things that we are not conscious of.
Right.
There has to be. So I am also I want to know what happens after this life. The big question that no one can 100% answer is what happens.
Right.
You know,
Right.
is it the annihilation theory when it's just lights out, that's it? Is it more to that? Is there a heaven or hell or reincarnation, depending on your specific faith, what you believe in.
Right.
So that for me has been the driving force of the unknown. And I'm a health coach in town, so I work with I have several clients, and I always talk to them about that. I love listening to the stories
Oh, yeah.
and the history behind paranormal activity, more or less. There's usually a story involved, and I love hearing the story, but I'm also a skeptic
Oh, yeah.
because I'm one of those people where I've never had a supernatural experience. And here's the thing, my wife, she's a brilliant woman, and she's had supernatural experiences before. And she's not lying when she tells me these
Right.
things, so she definitely believes them. In the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, come on, there is no way. But
Yeah.
I have several clients who are, physicians, lawyers, politicians, higher up people in the community who had experiences like this before, and they're not lying.
Right.
And at that point, it's like, I want to know. I
Yeah.
want to interact with people who have the same interest, because you're always going to have that part of the population that says this is fake.
Always. Yep.
That everything about it is fake. And I don't know if the TV shows necessarily help that. Meaning, you can sit through this show and sometimes it doesn't produce anything at all.
Right.
And people see that and they're like, man, I wasted an hour of my time with this, So I'm fascinated with it, and it's nice to know that there's a group of people out there who are also fascinated with it.
Yep.
So my passion is supernatural events, paranormal, and UFOs.
Yeah.
So Jason's talked to me a lot about the Bigfoot, and I have to say that's something that I have to really work on to get into.
Right.
But you talk aliens,
Yeah.
that is my cup of tea. So let me ask that question. I've talked to two guys about it, but Jeremiah and Leah, when did you guys decide this was something that you wanted to do?
You and me?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, for me, as a young kid, just personal experiences I could never explain, and I wrote it off to, it's just a wild imagination growing
Yeah.
up. And then
Yeah.
when things started becoming a little bit too, like, reoccurring maybe, or a little bit more concrete for me, that's when I was like, well, maybe there's more to this afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then just growing up, I've always been a big history person, so I look at it from different angles. If I'm going into a place currently that's historic, I mean, that's awesome to me. It's a kid in a candy store. I'm like, well, man, if I'm talking to somebody from the past that was here 100 years ago, and I can maybe confirm that through some kind of data,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
then hell, that's awesome. And we've had that. We've had known what we think. I mean, we're not scientists by any means, but we've been in places, especially like around Wichita, the Forum Theater, for instance. We have the guy on recorder when it's just myself and one other investigator there talking to us, and we're asking, whoever's here with us, can you give us your name? And the guy says his name, first, middle, last name, and that's the guy we suspected was there, and he's given us. Now, is it truly 100% him? Maybe not. But it wasn't nobody else there with us, so
Sure.
it's somebody.
It's somebody,
that's not
yes.
there that we can physically, tangibly can't see at that given moment, but we have seen them during investigations. But like I said, most of it was just my own personal experiences. I just started having these weird little things I couldn't explain as a kid, and the more I read into it, the more it intrigued me. It piqued my interest.
Like
you
what?
know? Just seeing.
I know that's a tough question,
No,
man.
Just seeing things that I know weren't there.
Yeah.
Like in my own personal bedroom, I wake up and there'd be somebody there, standing there, and this.
Okay.
At the time, my parents built this house, and it was a brand new house, so it couldn't have been anybody attached to the house at that given time. But maybe, like I tell people that give me that same line of questioning. Well, this is a brand new house. I built this. Why is my house haunted?
Yeah.
Well, what about the land?
Absolutely.
The land's
yeah.
been there how many years before we've been
Sure.
there, and it'll be there afterwards.
Sure.
What about the materials that we're building this house with? Whether it be the rock or the dirt,
It
or
all comes
the,
from somewhere.
Yeah, the,
Yeah.
the wood. What if it's on a Civil War battleground? They cut it out, cleared it, or rainforest, and Amazon, whatever. That they bring it to us, and then we don't know. Supposedly, objects hold energy, and maybe
That's an
it
interesting way.
Hell,
to
transfer
the
it
tree
over.
itself could have
Absolutely.
had like blood splatter
Yes.
from
You don't
the
know,
Civil
yeah.
War or something
you
like
don't
that.
know.
Yeah.
If you think back, I mean, we're a violent species.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, if you,
Just a
if you
little.
go back hundreds
Just a
upon
little.
hundreds of years, way before our time,
Oh, yeah.
you don't know what happened. You
Right.
don't know if there was a Civil War battle there. That wasn't. Maybe it wasn't a big one. It wasn't documented.
Sure.
You don't know if there
Oh,
was.
I'm
a
sure
violent
there's so
event
many
that happened.
undocumented battles, and
Yeah.
fights, and
Absolutely.
deaths.
And
That's a good way to
we've
look
had
at it.
houses with clients. Just this just started recently, and then we ask them, well, what's changed in your life? Well, nothing I can think of. Is that the same thing? Have you brought anything different into the house? Oh, you know what? I just got this antique rocking chair from my grandmother, and then it starts. Well, maybe it's the chair. Have you tried taking it out for a day, two, see if it stops? Or then we go in and try to investigate, and try to see if it's something that's around that, who's
Yeah,
there
yeah.
haunting. It's
Wait.
just stuff like that.
Case in point, a house that we investigated was only a year old,
Mhm.
and they'd only been living in it for a few months,
Mhm.
and they were having so much activity that they were actually feeling it in while they were sleeping in bed. Something would come over and like be pushing them, trying to wake them up, and they like wake up and nobody's there.
Oh yeah, intense.
Yeah.
You know, and the kids are in bed. There's nobody coming over to tug on them.
Yeah.
And even their kids are seeing things in the corners, and they're just staring and they're pointing to this and that. We end up getting a lot of activity in there, but what did they bring in?
Sure.
Something old.
Yeah, and it was from I'm not sure if it's what I'm thinking of, but there's one we had. It was a rocking chair in
Yeah.
the girls' room, and
Yeah.
that's where the activity seemed to center around.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's the same token. It's like, well, why can my child see it? To me, I would say this too. And a lot of it sounds regurgitated because we say it all the time. But to clients, the reason I think they approach children more often is because they're a clean slate.
Yeah, they haven't been jaded
Yeah,
by what's
they
going
haven't.
on.
Yeah, they live life. They're unbiased for the
Yes.
most part.
Unbiased.
So
They're
what-
open to see things. you know,
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
That's weird. Do you have a good feed?
Yeah.
Mine's going like crazy, haywire. I'm one on Facebook. I don't get it, but okay. Sorry about that. But anyways, yeah, it's just stuff like that. We think outside the box and just the obvious. Oh yeah, it's a ghost. Run, kind of a thing. Get it. Move now. Move yesterday. What about the knocking noise? Maybe it's just water in the pipes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the gas. Well, every time I turn American conditioner on or whatever heater on, it does happen. Well, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Not everything's paranormal, but then we have to look at it from both sides. What if it is paranormal?
Sure.
So we
Sure.
got to try to figure out why it's there or what it wants, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Do you mind if I extend that question
Please.
to Jeremiah
Yeah,
as
he
well?
needs an answer.
Yeah.
He's paying attention. Turn the phone off.
So first I got to turn the gain down on my mic because that's wow. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I get asked this question a lot actually, but yeah, I grew up with just having so many different encounters, and with, I mean, even to the point of communications. It's been a part of my life basically all my life. I don't get into a lot of detail on public forums about that. We can talk about that more later if you want to, but really and truly, when it comes down to the investigation side of it, I didn't really get involved in or interested in that until until the Project House came into the picture. And if you hang around as much, you'll hear lots of people talk about the Project House. It was a house that I owned down in Anthony, and I was renovating it, had completely gutted it, and it just started noticing things happen, voices out of nowhere, and even to the point one time I walked over and looked outside to see if there was, like kids playing, like a bunch of kids, like a schoolyard full of kids playing, because there were that many voices that I couldn't figure out where they were coming from. And it sounded like kids' voices. Tools would move around on me, disappear, reappear later. It was just the craziest shit. I couldn't wrap my head around it. It was beyond anything I had experienced before, and that was quite a bit. So, I got the internet involved and started, looking around, seeing what I could find. I happened across another local team who was more open to helping people at that time than they seem to be now, and a lot of chatting and whatnot with people. Couldn't get anyone interested in helping me figure out what was going on at that house, so I finally I think what it boiled down to was I was sitting down watching Ghost Hunters one night with my wife at the time and two friends of ours, and I said, you know what? Why can't we do that? Fuck it, let's go do that at the Project House. So we took a damned old tape recorder down there before we didn't even have anything digital record audio on. We just took a damn tape recorder down there, and we caught an EVP. It was the damnedest thing. I didn't have the technology to convert it to digital at the time, so it's lost.
How many decades was that ago?
The 70s.
That was a while. That was a while. So,
It's on camera. Everybody saw it.
Sorry.
You're my witness, everybody. Go ahead. Continue.
all the abuse. So the EVP, we were standing in the kitchen area, and I asked my buddy who had the camera, I said, take a picture over towards the stairwell. I was getting a funny feeling from that direction. And right at that instant on that tape, that very plainly a whispered voice says, don't take pictures in here. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep.
So, it just, and it just kind of grew from there, and wasn't long after that we started the team. Didn't have a clue what the hell we were doing, but it was fun, and we were learning a lot, and it's just kind of snowballed from there. That's the word I'm looking for. Snowballed from there, and roller coaster.
A roller coaster ride, that's for sure. My God.
So you talk about a feeling, some sort of an intuition that something is there. So do you attribute that, if you wake up in the middle of the night, okay, or you're doing something, whether, for me it might be working on my computer at work doing some paperwork, or I'm at home maybe playing a video game, watching a movie or whatnot. You're in a good place. You've got a good mindset going on. You're at peace, whatever. But then there's just this feeling of dread that comes up, okay? Sometimes you'll wake up in the middle of the night, you gotta go to the bathroom. You walk and you're like, man, I better turn on a light because I just feel like something is there. Nothing's there, or at least nothing that you can see.
Right.
What do you guys think that feeling is? Do you think that's imagination? Is that intuition? Or is there more? Is there something there?
Do you guys want to shoot first, or you want me to? Because we're going to have probably
say
two
differing,
totally different answers for
Differing
that.
views. I was gonna say, hey, whoever wants to jump in.
Let's
can
say
jump
if
in.
it's something
I'll jump
nefarious.
in.
Everybody but Roth.
With all my experience.
Mr. Rowe, the mayor.
I'm gonna have to say, my opinion on that, and I haven't been doing it as long as these other three, but I'll start out. It can be your mind. Definitely, your mind can just make you do some weird things. But I have been in one situation when we were at the shop when we had that incident with the plastic.
Oh yeah.
And you had called it out, and then I said, well, let's take a break, because it was getting pretty intense.
Right.
I had, I was the last one out of that room, and I stopped in the hallway to go to the restroom.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I've ever felt like something was just right here in my face going, bring it,
Sure.
and so I've been in those situations where you can make yourself scared,
Right.
but that
Sure.
wasn't a situation. That was like something was just, yeah.
But don't you think that's interesting? Okay, so the physiology of a person, fight or flight. Okay, but that's sensory. Okay,
Right.
meaning if we see a lion coming at us, we're gonna run. If we see someone wanting to fight us, we're gonna run or we're gonna fight. But blood pressure rises, heart rate rises. If we can't see anything and we can't hear anything, we can't smell anything, we sure as hell can't taste anything. Why do we get that feeling? I'm bringing the heat tonight, guys.
Mine is the heaviness in the room.
Yeah,
The
feeling.
amount of electricity that changes in the room.
Okay.
The darkness in the room.
Yeah.
And you can take it from there.
I think a lot on my end is from the very beginning when I didn't have any encounters back when I was growing up or anything like that. I was just intrigued. I wanted to find out. I was interested. I want to always find out the answers for everything. So the more I did it, I just kept pushing myself until something happened, until I ran across them. So if people told me to go into that dark room, I went into that dark room. If I went down, down the basement, I just went. If something happened, then great. Then I have that story to tell. But I don't. The way I've looked at it over the years is that if it's paranormal, spirits are everywhere. They're not just going to be hiding out in that one dark room or anything, and that's where they're just dwelling, and it only happens at night or on Halloween. How a lot of stories go. It always happens on Halloween. No, it doesn't. It probably happens every day, and you just
Right.
don't know it. Depending on what kind of spirit you're also looking at or talking about, is it human? Is it something beyond that? And it depends on what it's doing to you. It could be making you feel angry. It could even be playing with your own emotions too. So I never know exactly how to take it, but I always just sit and wait until it actually happens, basically. If I hear something, I hear a knock, I hear a growl or something, it makes me more intrigued to go forward than it does to go running backwards.
So there's no fear at that point.
There's fear. I mean, I guess I'm always kind of on the edge, but
Right. Cautious, maybe.
I get angry, like, well, who are you to do this to me?
Finally.
I'm kind of like, I kind of get that kind of chip on my shoulder when it's happening, and I'm like, well, I want to go. I want to go figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
who are you growling at us? Who are you throwing stuff at us?
Yeah.
And it does. It always kind of angers me a little bit, and I want to find that answer, because kind of like Bigfoot, it's always around the corner or elusive, and it seems just right out of reach.
Yeah.
Same with something that comes over and just brushes your shoulder or something. I'm like, damn it,
Right.
just show yourself, talk to us, do something. Don't. I almost feel like sometimes the spirits are chicken shit on that aspect, I mean, calling it out a little bit out there, but yeah, I do feel like they are kind of chicken shit when they're whispering off over there, but we go over there and we're like, hey, all right, we heard you over here, and then they're off over there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come on.
Do you think they're trying to communicate?
Go ahead.
No, I mean, sometimes, not always. Sometimes they're like, I don't want to talk to you, leave me alone. You were here last week or whatever, kind of a thing. Or, I mean, depends on what we're dealing with. Sometimes I feel like we're dealing with things are just what they are. They're just a person that was here possibly at one point, or still in their mind are existing. That if I come in there and you watch all the shows like the Ghost Adventures, we'll say, because everybody knows Ghost Adventures. He comes in there, come on, mother, kicking the door down. I'm coming to get you.
Yeah.
Dude, I want somebody coming to my house yelling at me like, dude, get out of my house, man. I don't want you. You're not welcome in my house, kind of thing.
So you think these spirits are conscious that there's someone there? You don't
Sometimes.
think that they're just replaying a scenario?
There
over
are
and
That's,
those.
over
you
again?
got the residual
Okay.
ones
Those
that
are
do that.
residuals, yeah. And there's also the ones that are intelligent that can, where I'll go back to the Bigfoot or the Tahlequah, Oklahoma case. When I've never been down to that place ever. The first time I go down there, we're in a cemetery that I've never been to in my life that I know of.
Yeah.
And recorder, I come back and there's something to say, hey, Leo. When it wasn't my teammates, because I know all their voice, you hear them, it's more kind of a whispery, raspy kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And everybody else, there's 3 or 4 of us with me at the time, and you can hear their voices, the pitch is different, they're not even close to me, and it's like, well, who the heck's calling my name down there then?
Yeah.
I can't explain that part of it, that I've never been to this place ever, why would somebody call my name?
So do you think that there are people who are sensitive to these things, or it can happen to anybody
Yeah.
if you're in the right mindset, or are some people like myself, being in my 30s now and surrounded by people who've had these experiences, who I think are completely, they believe in them, but I've never had anything happen to me. Am I shut off from it, even though I'm really just craving some
Right.
sort of a interaction?
Well, I mean, there is things that are, they are what they are. I mean, as far as you have different types of levels of, call it spirituality, call it intuition, call it ESP, whatever you want to call it. There's different levels, I feel, and I think some of the guys on the team may agree or disagree with this, but that's fine. But I've heard stories that supposedly everybody has this capability. Some people just don't know how to use it.
Like
Or-
a sixth sense, kind of?
basically, yeah. Or, just they're not in tune with it. Because Jason and I, we've been on cases together, and he's like, how do you, because for a while I was hearing stuff, and when I first started the team, I'm like, what am I hearing? I'm hearing stuff. So I would say, I'd let it sit there for like a couple of seconds and let it breathe, whatever happened, and I'm like, nobody's reacting, nobody's saying anything, so I was like, well, did everybody just hear that voice that said, I would say the word for word what I thought it sounded like, or make the pitch, the sound, in case I couldn't understand what it said. They're like, no, we didn't hear anything. And they come back on recorder, and it's there, and it's definitely not me. Okay, I'm gonna do this real quick, and then, hey, did you guys hear that sound? It's nothing like that. It's,
Yeah.
why am I hearing this stuff nobody else hears? And it became more and more clear that I was able to hear it a little easier or see it. Now, do I kind of tell your future? No. I'm not like that. I'm not a medium that some people can say, okay, don't go down the stairs, you're gonna fall. Oh, and he fell down the stairs. Nothing like that. It's just sometimes we go on locations, we can hear things a little bit clearer. We've seen them, the thing, we've seen shadows, we've seen the actual apparition, or when I'm getting too close, like I've been in locations where it's like, oh God, I'm getting this shooting pain in my chest. Why? Am I having a heart attack? Oh crap, Oh, where we at? Okay. Just curiosity, did this person that died here, or is dead that haunts this place, did they have a heart attack? They get shot? Oh yeah, he died of a heart attack. It's like, well, maybe I'm what we call empathic, possibly, where
Yes, empathic,
you
yes.
can take on their persona a little bit, or they're trying to reach out to you. Yes, you guys are calling me out. You want to talk to me? I'm nearby or whatever. And you're getting what you're asking for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but supposedly I've read stories, and this is from. You can't read everything. Everything you read in black and white is not true. So,
Sure.
But there's supposedly things out there that say that everybody has this capability. Some people just know how to turn it on or use it.
And channel it and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think, Jeremiah?
Well, I tend to agree with you. I think everyone has the ability to pick up on these things. We had this discussion just not too long ago, actually a couple of times over the past few weeks, but we're talking about we have to, in some way, form, or fashion, be dealing with an energy of some sort. It's an energy that we don't know how to explain and probably don't know how to measure effectively. So, I personally believe that it's like some people are sensitive to electromagnetic fields. They have different symptoms when they are when they're in a strong electromagnetic field. Other people, like me, you can walk through a thick, heavy magnetic field and it doesn't bother you.
Right.
Well, I think it's kind of the same thing. You know, there's an energy there when in the presence of some sort of spirit or entity or whatever you want to call it, whatever type it is that you're dealing with. There's an energy there, and I think some people are sensitive to that energy, and some people are less sensitive to it. It has an effect on everyone because everyone's biology is the same. At the very basest.
We have to be.
Yeah,
we have to.
exactly.
Yeah.
But some people, for some reason, just sense it more strongly than other people. And I attribute that to
That's what I was asking,
intuition.
yes, intuition, or maybe there's something that has happened.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a trauma based.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I need some trauma then, because I'd like to bring it out a little bit more than
Well,
what
you
I
know,
have.
and I've been doing this for what 10 years or so, and I've been in a lot of different places, and you know, just about every place you guys have been to
Right.
too, and a few that I wasn't with you guys on that I went to on my own, and I find myself in a lot of cases, and you know, you guys know me,
Right.
I'm usually more worried about everyone in the room or what's going on, and like if we're doing a public event, my brain's just not working on the whole ghost hunting part. I'm usually just not focused. But here I am in a location that's, you know, and I've got Leo or Jeremiah or even Roth, you know, hearing something and going, "Oh shit, did you know?" And I you know, then my brain will snap back into it, be like, "Oh no, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry," you know. And it's just. It's not that I don't hear stuff, you know. Okay, you know, I will hear shuffling, or I will hear knocks, or
Children.
Oh, that scared the shit out of me when I
Yeah.
heard that for the first time.
Right.
That was at the Forum.
Oh, and also
You know,
in
I
that
had
city.
to, yeah, in Nest City.
Is the forum the place we were talking about?
Yes, and also going back to what we were saying about how people watch the shows and they think, well, okay, well, that was a waste of my time, and it's not really real. And doing the ghost tours that I do, taking people off the bus and taking them into locations and allowing them to just walk. Nothing's propped. Nothing's, you know.
Right. It's 100% real.
It's 100% real. And we were walking them through the Forum, and every tour I took in there is at least 10 people who had an encounter of something happened to them and freaked them out. By the time they got back to the bus, they were true believers and loving it,
Yeah.
or scared to death. Some of them were actually like had tears in their eyes. But it's just a matter of getting away, as I always say, getting away from your bubble of life and going off into this direction of and actually doing it. You know, which is, you know, it's kind of harsh to say it that way with the whole bubble thing, but it is true. You know, you have to go out into the field to do it, and then you start experiencing.
Yeah, 'cause see, some people say, you know, like, not using you as an example, but you mentioned earlier your comments like, I've never had an experience, but then how often have you actually went out and looked for one?
More than.
I mean, maybe you have. I'm saying, but I mean, to the normal person at home watching
Sure.
this, they're like, well, I've never had an experience. Well, have you gone to this location, or have you gone to this place, or have you looked in your own backyard? I'm saying,
Sure.
Say, well, no, I never thought about it. Well, then you're not actively looking for
Absolutely.
it. We go a tendency to go out and look for it. Like I always tell everybody, we're the crazy ones. When then, what's that noise? Everybody goes this way. We go, what's that noise? We go that way,
Yeah.
towards the noise. I mean, that's our natural tendency, as our group is, because
And I'm always trying to debunk the things that happen. Kind of like, oh, there's got to be a logical explanation.
yeah, definitely. And I've tried to explain to Jason, kind of like he says when he's talking about going into a place. I've tried to work with him, not that he doesn't get it, just to understand, to help him understand how I'm able to do what we do sometimes. I'm telling him, like, even right now in the studio, we're talking, having this conversation, but I'm aware of what's going on around me. There's TV behind me on, there's sounds, somebody's sniffing. I'm listening to it. I'm always listening.
Yeah.
But I'm also focused on you, can hear everything you say. Bro just yawned, see? So it's just stuff like that. I'm watching constantly and hearing. I'm just aware of the surroundings more. I'm more
Yeah.
open to that, and I
Yeah.
try to get him to free his mind open to do that.
I have to
It's
really
not easy.
stop my brain and think about what's going on around me.
I was
before
an instructor, so like for students and older adults, so
Mhm.
I have a little bit of that
So you
perception.
can
But I'm all yes, I
understand
know.
and relate,
Yes,
yeah.
you have to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
I've just everything that's ever happened to me before. I'm always like, this is a logical explanation
Right.
for this. You know what I mean?
Does your mind ever wonder what if?
all the time.
I'm just curious because you
all
have
the
those
time.
people. No, it's
Yeah.
only this, or it's 100% paranormal.
No, there's got to
just-
be
yeah.
a gray area.
Yeah, I was just
And
curious.
with my background, I have a degree in exercise science, and
Mhm.
that's highly physiologically based.
Right.
And then I have a master's in aging studies, gerontology,
Nice.
which is the science of aging.
Mhm.
So I have a very thorough understanding of physiological processes.
Right.
So when we start talking about things that get a little bit out of the realm of science, it's hard for me to wrap my head around that.
Right.
It's kind of like, well, science says there's got to be an explanation for this.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Right.
And that's why I always premise that we're not scientists. We're people that share the same common interests that
Sure.
we were trying to help others. We just happen to, like I said, dive head first versus some people that want to go the other way and run.
And it's exciting. It's
Yeah, it
exciting.
is. It
Even
is.
if you are trying to debunk everything, that's
Mhm.
still exciting to have these experiences. And one of the things that bothers me the most is two of the most popular physicists, Neil deGrasse Tyson and also Stephen Hawking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the lectures that I've heard them do, they don't believe in.
They're one-sided. It's-
One-sided
that-
to the
my way or
max.
it doesn't exist.
They're
kind of
married to the science.
thing. Yes, that's the perfect word for it.
but
Married.
they're geniuses.
Oh yeah, they're outsmart us any day. you
Oh,
know?
and maybe, I mean,
Thousand
but
times
they're
over.
they're one in
Yeah,
a billion.
Of course,
you know,
yeah,
they're 1 in a billion with
Right.
their level of intelligence.
Yep.
It just makes you. It just for me, I'm like, if someone that smart doesn't believe, man, how could they have an experience? Would they have an experience? You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us read deeper into what we give it, or like research more than we just the common face value of. I mean, I know Jason reads a lot. I know Jeremiah has a lot in the past, and Roth. I mean, he's kind of still new to the team. Not new, but he's greener when it comes to this stuff. So he's not like we are. We live, eat, breathe, drink this. You know.
Oh yeah.
And we won't just go for face value. We go deeper. I mean, I read because you mentioned your degree. My degree is in criminal justice, so I'm the more
It's awesome,
investigative
yeah.
side kind of thing. I want to make sure I think things through 100%. And like, what if it could be this, but what if it's this kind of a thing? But also, I've done the research like you talk about Stephen Hawking, you talk about Michio Kaku, you know, his string
He's
theory.
He's a little more open to things.
Yeah,
He's
so
a little more
I
open to
read
things, yes.
that and trying to get grasp of him. Some of that stuff's.
Oh,
But
sure.
I still
absolutely.
read it, you know.
Absolutely.
I'm like to try to grasp, but it
He's
opens
good
your
at
mind.
simplifying
Yeah,
things. He's very
he
good at
is.
simplifying
But
things.
sometimes people are just too damn smart.
But
Wow.
but not knocking them for
Yep.
their intelligence and their
Mhm.
and their book studies and everything. But when was the last time they actually went into the field to actually
Maybe
do
never.
what we did? Probably never.
Right.
Surely, yeah. And,
But they have an explanation for
But for them
everything.
Yes.
and maybe the way their brain thinks, it's
Yeah.
not because they don't
Right.
want to. They're thinking there's no reason to because scientifically it's not there.
Yes.
So why waste
Yeah.
my time?
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
us, we're more like, okay, I'm kind of outside of the box thinker,
Right.
So we're gonna go investigate
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
those guys don't have
They may
it's tunnel
say-
vision for them.
They
Well-
may see it one way, but you have
Yeah.
millions of other people that are going, but this happened. So how do you not explain that? How do you? You
Sure.
know?
And if you're that intelligent and you're that thoroughly prepared in the science,
Mhm.
they may approach it from a condescending aspect
That's
too.
true.
Like, why on earth would I believe it's something like this? Why would I go look at something like this when the
Right.
science says there's no possible way?
Right.
Even though maybe the science is wrong. Maybe we don't know.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe we
I
don't
mean,
know.
Once again, another thing you read in black and white is 100% accurate. Just gets there. I mean, the internet's always true, but not in books. So.
Wikipedia, 100%.
Wikipedia is the one you want to go to. Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
There's a science fiction author that had a quote that was made famous by the movie Thor.
Uh-huh.
Says, magic is just science that we don't understand yet.
Perfect.
Mhm, that's a great
perfect.
quote, yes. Yes.
Yep.
I can't remember what the science fiction author
Yeah.
was, but it makes sense. I mean, that's absolutely the case.
Yeah. I mean, that's perfect.
Well, and your scientists won't ever. You're not going to find those people. I've been around a few of those,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the dumb one that'll open my mouth. I don't care who you are, but they'll blatantly tell you you sound stupid.
Well, to them, because they're
Yeah,
up
yeah.
here.
So maybe
But-
in their world,
okay.
the people they hang around with, their
Yeah.
friends, maybe they have thought about it and
Mm-hmm.
went, you know what? I'm gonna call Nathan, and no, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna call Nathan. He'll
Well,
think I'm
I
a
mean-
complete idiot.
No, but I'm so open to it. I'm
Yeah,
so
but
open
somebody
to
in the
everything.
scientific world that their
Yeah.
brain works
Sure.
like that,
Right.
they don't want to ever be known. They're going to tell
Yeah.
you, hey, be careful, Nathan. Don't go out and say that. They're going to think you're stupid.
Yeah, and that's true. I have a client who was
You know.
talking to me about alien type experience that he had had, and he was working on a graduate degree in physics at the time, and he had said, I tried to talk to my professor about it, and he just said I was dumb, so I never pursued it. And that's the shame. Because what, and this happened in the early 80s, what if at that moment in time that professor said, let's dig into that.
Yeah.
Let's see how that propulsion worked with that craft that you saw. Let's toy around with the fact that maybe that really happened, and let's look into it. You seem to remember it, so let's explore it instead of shutting it down. How many opportunities are we missing from condescending academics who aren't open to things like this?
And then you got your pastors and churches that no, you're not allowed to believe in that type of thing
Yeah.
too. Not that I'm bashing churches or anything. I'm just saying. But you got those people that are, well, I feel like I'm a good, Catholic, Muslim person, whatever my religion is, and I go to church every day and pray and this and that. I believe in this, once again, higher being that may or may not exist depending on your religion.
Sure.
But hold on a second, just one second. You can jump in here a second. I was going to say, I'm not shutting them down. I was just saying. But the point I was going to make was, you brought a good point. Some people are just too scared to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Afraid of being shamed or
ridicule.
Or
Sure.
maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm dreaming this is not really happening. And that's why sometimes it's good that they open up to us. Like, man, because even when we come into their house, I don't know if you should come in because I'm afraid you're going to make it mad, or maybe nothing's there. Maybe it's simply like I said, the wind making the shutters rattle outside every night at this time. That's why it's happening. We're here to help you. We're here for your needs, not for our own.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we learn stuff along the way, but it's good. And they're like, I'm glad you guys came out. They start to, whew, I feel relieved now. I can actually talk to somebody about this.
I'm not crazy.
Yeah,
That's what we hear the most.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody, and we never thought you were, or else we wouldn't be here. I'm not coming to your house. You're crazy. Roth, you were saying something. Sorry,
We should
buddy.
just be known as paranormal therapists.
There's probably a show out there ready for it, I'm sure.
Now, I had a question to bring up for all of you, because you're into the UFOs and stuff, but, and then you happen to bring up the religion part of it. Okay, so the other night I was on TV, or I was watching TV.
You were on the TV? How does that
Late
work?
80s, but it was.
Connie said, get off of there.
I was watching TV and there was some UFO deal, and I never
Yeah.
turn those on. I just don't. I'd watch the Bigfoot stuff honestly before I did the UFO stuff, and something intrigued me, and so I turned it on,
He's closeted.
and it had. They brought Jesus in.
Sure.
Okay, and it was really
Like
interesting.
right there in
to
the
me.
studio?
Wow. You sure it wasn't
And,
Jesus?
see,
The gardener?
never keep a straight face. Just scientifically, I just think both of them.
Oh, yeah. No idea.
So,
You should see it every week. Every week.
So one thing in some of the scriptures that they had found over the years
Right.
is that, okay, they say, and if you're Catholic, they say that Jesus was resurrected, okay? There are some people that were there, I guess, while this happened. They said that he went out with a couple of his brothers, and somebody had written after all this had happened that Jesus had, and tell me if you've heard this and take
Probably
over,
if you heard this.
like a glowing effect to him.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, and they were like, what the? I mean, he's glowing. He couldn't understand it either. Okay, well, then all of a sudden he is crucified, and then, when they went to go, the women went to go check on him.
Right.
The wall,
The rock.
the rock was rolled over.
Right.
He's gone. But they said something that they, prior to that they had seen
Jesus, remember?
in the scripture, like little people. Have you heard anything on that? Where they said they had seen something that night when he was, and they said that it was little people, like aliens. And so I didn't know, and I'm sitting there going, what?
I don't know. I've never heard anything about that in
I've got
particular.
it recorded. We need
but-
to watch it some night. So it was interesting because the people that had when you see three women go take off to go check something out, other people follow back then. Like, oh, where are they going? And these scriptures were found where they were telling the story of what they had seen.
Right.
So it goes back to the days when you see
Oh,
those things
yeah.
on the
If you're talking about some of the other books that were taken out of the Bible, then yeah, there's all
Yeah,
kinds of
there
stuff
is.
like that
Okay.
that
That's
runs
what
through
I
there.
heard, because
Deleted
I thought that
stories.
was interesting, because they actually are saying that it was the aliens
Sure.
that had something to do with all this.
And there
You know,
are ancient-
there's a lot of speculation. You know, the first part of it that you were talking about with when he was glowing,
Yes.
that's called the Transfiguration. Just for future reference, so you know. Anyway, he went up on the Temple Mount, and he was seen by his disciples up
Yes.
there talking to someone that resembled Elijah and someone else that resembled Enoch. Okay, Elijah and Enoch were the only two people in the Bible that never died. Okay, there were
Interesting. Yes, you're correct.
they call it translated, but they were just supposedly taken straight up to heaven. Okay, now there's a lot of speculation because of some other stuff in the Bible. Is it in Ezekiel, the machine in the he saw in the vision?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
You know, that a
Supposedly.
lot of stuff that when you put a pencil and pen to it, visions of these strange things that you put a pencil and pen to it, and holy shit, that's a UFO.
Yeah.
That's
You
what
know?
I was
Ezekiel was
Yeah.
possibly the first alien abduction recorded.
really.
Possibly. If you read what he's saying in his vision with the saucer disc things coming down, the creatures coming out or off of it, taking him up into the sky and everything like that. I mean, people when volcanoes erupted back then, it was always the gods. It was always the gods. You know, you're pissing off the gods.
Right.
Who's to say it couldn't have been a craft from another world that was actually coming down and taking the man, and he didn't have any other explanation but to say it was angels. It was, you know, all this.
Right.
Who-
There are ancient
Yeah.
paintings
Yeah.
that have
Hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
they have
Hieroglyphics, yeah.
very interesting things that could. I didn't know you didn't like UFOs.
No,
That
not
cuts me
that
deep. That cuts me deep.
Like I
Big
tell
Bear.
everybody else to get over.
Yeah.
But no, not that I don't. I just don't spend a lot of time.
Yeah, he
on
doesn't.
It. You know,
Yeah.
I'm more
Yeah.
into the Bigfoot stuff because of you guys now. than
Oh,
I
it
am
took him a
anything.
long time to
But
get to that
since
Really?
you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
had talked about the UFOs here lately, and we went and visited with you,
Oh.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, I'm gonna watch this. And then all of a sudden they're talking about these people. Your story was correct. That they had seen him talking to somebody. Matter of fact,
Okay,
when he reunited with him, there is scripture that says that he said, please do not tell anybody that you saw me glowing.
Right.
You talking about zombie
Right.
Jesus?
Okay. So, and that's something else I want to.
Anyways, Jeremiah.
That's something else. That's something else I want to point out and talk about on that. Okay, number one, there's a couple of weird things about that whole passage. Number one, he's glowing. Why is he glowing? Is it radiation? Is it?
I was just gonna say it's radiation.
What you know what? But okay, so I mean, we get exposed to radiation all the time, and chemotherapy and cancer treatments and what, X-rays for crying out loud. Why don't we glow? What kind of
Maybe
radiation
we
are
do.
we
You just
talking
can't
about?
see it. You hear about things about aura. and stuff like that. I'm just saying,
okay. There's that.
Maybe.
That's a good point. Number two, my second question is, how did these people know who he was talking to?
Right.
How did they know what they looked like? Because that's what the scripture says is that people. If I remember correctly, the scripture says people that they resembled these people. So how did they know what they looked like? Because these people supposedly lived thousands of years before this.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, because
not-
all I remember them saying is they saw him talking to somebody.
Yeah.
He was glowing. And then when he came back over
But
to
it
his
sounds like
disciples,
it sounds like a
he
great
said, "Please do
story,
not."
but nobody was a witness to any of it.
you know. So.
Anybody who wrote it was not a
Well,
witness
but-
to
okay,
it.
but the thing is these are showing up on boulders. These are showing up on, carvings. I mean, so it's no different than saying, okay, why are they showing Bigfoot stuff on rocks? There's a reason why those are carved on there. That's how they told their stories.
Well, a lot of people theorize that you're highly spiritual beings glowed when, and then your alien theorists will say it's because they weren't from this earth.
Of course.
So that your Jesus, if you see him in photos, he always has a glowing aura behind him. Buddha's the same way. And I'm sure if we delved into other religions, we would find that the major prophets of those religions were generally surrounded by an aura in their paintings. So you have to ask yourself, if you're going to really go down that rabbit hole of the ancient aliens and whatnot, why? Yeah, exactly what Jeremiah said. Why were they glowing? What were they? If they were humans, what were they exposed to?
Right.
And how could we see it? Or they weren't from here. Which you really
lizard
have
people.
to open your mind to think about
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah,
Yes.
that's intense.
The
Yes.
lizard people.
But it was interesting because I had
It's in the
watched
video.
that, and then it's actually a series. There's like 3 or 4 seasons. I'll look
I think
it
you
up.
were looking at Ancient Aliens
Is
Yeah.
that what it is?
Oh,
Maybe that's
yeah.
what
Pretty
it is.
sure.
Maybe
That's
that's
all
what it
right.
was.
Yep.
on the Discovery
Yeah.
Channel. Thank you.
Yep.
Yep. Cool. About that time?
Are you guys ready for a break?
Yeah, let's just get a quick one out of the way, and then we can come back and.
Yeah. Real quick.
All right.
Real quick.
We're going to take a quick one, guys. Stick around. Catch us on the flip side while you're at it. Like, share, subscribe, every button you can push except for the thumbs down. Okay?
Or the close
Well, yeah.
Close out button.
We'll talk to you in a little bit. we're back.
All right. And then we lost
Well,
it.
and there it went again. We tried to avert that disaster during the break, but oh well.
I will
So-
just,
What?
Yeah.
Now that
What are you
now
trying
that
to
we're
say?
back from the break, I want you guys to take just a second and do exactly what the little message there on the break said. Like all of our social media, share everything, and help us get the word out. We sure have a lot of fun doing this, and we want to share it with as many people as we can.
Yep. All right. While Jason plays house decorating, housewife, we'll continue a little bit. I know you can barely see him off camera, but part of our studio keeps falling off, falling apart. Excuse me. Not as funny as last week when the sign went down, but a close second. So we were kind of talking about a few things: religion, aliens, things of that nature. Before we went to break. I think Nathan, our guest, had a couple other questions you wanted to ask us, or anything.
Yeah, man, a couple topics. I was curious after, speaking to several people who are very strong in the Catholic faith. Miracles are a big thing with them. And specifically, I work with one lady, and she's an amazing woman. She's in her 80s, very devout Catholic. Wonderful woman. She told me that she experienced something to the effect that she would consider a miracle before her mom passed. She had heard her mom's voice clearly calling her name in her ear. Now, she wasn't in town at the time, but she heard the voice in her ear calling her name, and it caused her to phone home for them to say that her mom is in a bad condition and she needed to come home. And she did. She got on a train and came back home, and then her mom passed away while she was on the train.
Oh wow.
If you guys ever heard anything to that, because that's unexplainable in my mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Who said that over there?
sorry,
Off
I'm
camera.
talking off camera here.
That's Jason's voice.
But was it miracle? It all depends on your definition of miracle.
Sure.
Because in my opinion, that could have been just we've talked a lot
Intuition
about
kind of a thing.
we've talked a lot about
ESP.
how spirits have transported, people have paid attention to something.
Oh God.
Sweet.
Ouch. You
I'm
okay?
good.
He does his own stunts, people.
Yes, I do.
That was good. That was-
So no, what I'm saying is,
And now we have proof that Jason bounces.
Yes.
what I'm talking about is the fact that there is that
was awesome.
Yeah.
can't. For one, we don't know what the human mind is capable of.
Yes.
So therefore, there are stories of paranormal activity of people seeing a spirit of somebody who's still alive.
Right.
Of somebody who is basically their soul is either projecting itself. I don't know.
He just came in the camera.
Projecting itself or something like that, and the person's still alive, but yet there's, I've read so many stories of people having that, they hear that dead loved one's voice, not knowing that they're dead or not knowing that there's something that's about to happen, stuff like that. Is it a miracle? I don't know. It could be just the spirit of that person.
So do you think then that there's the possibility that the realm of consciousness that keeps all of us subjected into this body at this point, then as we get closer to death, maybe what we know as consciousness, the walls that keep us here, start to degrade a little bit, and then we can transcend?
I mean, even look at the whole idea of what people say of out-of-body experience when it comes to, what is it, sleep paralysis, stuff like that. They are getting out of their body, they're walking, they're turning around, they're seeing themselves. They're going over and they think they're talking to their family member in the house or something like that. Who's to say that's not a type or possibility of something in a different realm of projecting yourself? I mean, you're doing the whole, spoiler alert, but Luke Skywalker thing. You're here, but you're projecting your spirit over here, kind of thing.
So then, do you think it's a soul? Do you think it's a universal consciousness, or are we just energy that goes back?
what is, I mean, we don't know what spirits are. Could it be the soul of the person, or is it just the matter or the energy of that
Sure. Yeah.
former self?
Yeah.
Because apparently, not every spirit is able to present themselves. They're either talking, or you see a glimpse of them for just a moment down a hallway or something like that. I mean, like we've done at the Forum Theater, we recorded his voice. People have seen him inside the building from time to time, but not everybody.
Yeah.
But they all described, the same figure, and he's dead and buried in Shreveport, Louisiana. But yet he's projecting here. Who knows?
He's been dead since the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay.
That we know
Okay.
for sure, 100%. I mean, on record.
See him here.
So
Unbelievable.
yeah, we've
But-
encountered him. We've heard him.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple times.
But
But why is he in Wichita back to where a place he left in the 30s?
In the 30s. Yeah.
So that makes. I mean, that's a question we have to ask.
Yeah.
We never answered.
So, regardless of whether we would consider those things miracles or whatnot, maybe it's the intuition of the phone's about to ring right before it happens. That happens to me a lot,
Yeah,
and then even
yeah.
more so. Sometimes it's so creepy as
Yeah.
I'll be there and I'll be doing something, playing a video game or whatnot. I'll actually reach for my phone, not knowing I'm reaching for my phone right as it buzzes.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, you could chalk that up to coincidence. I'm
Yeah.
sure that happens to all of us. Have any of you experienced
All the
something?
time.
I,
All the time.
sitting at work, I answer the phone a lot, and I'll just be sitting there thinking, it's getting almost close to time, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I haven't heard from this office today, from that one office, and I hate freaking talking to them every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the phone will ring, and it'll be them.
Right.
And that has happened on multiple occasions, and it's always like within that last hour of work sometime, and I'm like, I'll just be working away, and then be like, oh man, I haven't heard from them all day today, and then all of a sudden the phone will ring, and it's them.
And I do
It's
Oh, sorry.
no.
I do it the stupidest things though. I'll be sitting here all of a sudden, I'll start singing a random song from nowhere. Like why this song hasn't been popular in 10, 15 years. It'll come on the radio.
Yeah.
Same thing with movies.
Yeah.
Man, that movie, what's that movie? Whatever. The TV show Night Rider, and all of a sudden, not doing my research ahead of time. When's it coming on? I can freak people out. No, all of a sudden I'll mention something to my wife. Hey, remember that one show, whatever, Over the Top, it's Sylvester Stallone when he puts the hat on backwards and the arm around, and then the next thing you know,
Turns it on.
and then the next thing you know, it's on TV. The next day, you're like, we were just talking about
Right.
this nowhere. Why? I
Do you
mean,
think
how
it's
is that?
deja vu? Have you guys explored the theory that this is just a repeated simulation that you,
Yeah.
Mr. Leo, have completed this exact moment thousands upon thousands of times before?
Like
You're
a
gonna say
reincarnation type.
or Groundhog Day?
Sure, it's just when people say, wow, I think I just had deja vu,
Yeah.
and you're like, what? I was just thinking about this company getting ready to call me. Well, maybe that has happened thousands of times before.
Who knows?
What if you're, while you're sleeping, maybe you're projecting your soul into the future of what you're about to do the next day.
Sure. You never know, because
I'm
sometimes
thinking about
dreams
that.
are real.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
dreams are they
Vivid.
seem very
Mhm.
real,
Yeah.
vivid.
Because
yes.
you'll have a dream, and like a day or two later, it's like it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I love to dream because I
We-
know, regardless, I'm sorry, whatever happens, I can wake up from it and everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Or whether it be something horrific happened or something, I won the lottery. Ooh, and I'm like, crap, reality sets in. But still, it's
Yeah.
something that I can wake up from and feel okay.
You
my
go out
life
and look in the
continues.
garage and the Lamborghini's really not there.
Yeah.
Check
It's
your bank
disappointing.
account, it's not there.
It's not
I never
happening.
dream.
I love dreaming.
I probably do
Yeah.
dream, physiologically, you almost have to, but
Yeah.
I don't remember them.
Me neither.
I
I don't
never
Yeah.
remember my
Well, there's-
dreams, unless they're bad dreams,
Yeah.
and then I don't want to remember them,
See,
so
I
I'm
even
screwed
remember
either
those.
way.
Well, they say what sometimes you really dream is if once you reach REM.
In a very deep sleep.
Yeah, you have to be
Rapid
to that
eye
level.
movement,
So
yeah.
you
Well, they
know,
say people that smoke a lot too don't dream near as much.
could be.
Sure, and people who are highly caffeinated because they have
Oh,
such
well,
so
that
high-
explains it.
There you
That,
go.
that-
You're
such
both.
high-
that
Chugging
explains it.
coffee
I'm
all
just
day.
screwed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm like one of the people, especially around my immediate people. I hang out with like my wife and them. They're like, "Oh God, I want to dream. I had a bad dream last night." I'm like, "God, I can't wait to go to sleep to dream because
Uh-huh.
it's just a fun, not reality sometimes."
What's your
Sometimes.
go-to dream? Mine, the one that happens, maybe a different circumstance, but it
Uh-huh.
happens. I'm exercising people, demons. Not not physically
I was like,
people
wow,
out, but,
and push.
but
and
I
two,
must have been
and
in
three.
another life. I must have been
Come on, demon, work that fat off.
because it always
Sorry.
and it's always terrifying, but it's always the same dream.
Yeah.
And I know from the second it kicks in, I know
Right.
this is what I'm here to do. And do you guys have? Well,
Oh, God,
you know,
yeah.
for those who experience dreams, do you
Yeah.
have a go-to dream where it's just
Mine's
happens?
similar. It's always been either I'm chasing something I can't ever grab or reach. I mean, like whether it be most of the times I'm getting chased, and it's always around this big block fence, like blocks, and it's something that's similar to my hometown or wherever I'm thinking about at the time. But I'm always having to go around and keep going around and keep going around, and like, oh my God, this thing won't let up. And I'm still running, I'm still running, I'm still running, and I can't get away from it.
Have you
But-
ever looked those up to see what they? Because a lot
I
of people
do
have the same
sometimes.
dream, like their teeth are falling out or they're
Yeah.
falling,
Yes,
Right.
yes.
and
It's most of the time if you're in my case it'd be like, oh, you're running from a problem, they'll say, or something.
Yeah,
that
they're-
effect. And maybe I was and maybe I wasn't. I mean, I'm just trying to get in shape, exercise those demons, you know, kind of a thing. And I mean, but I dream a lot about paranormal all the time. I mean, it never fails. Like when I go to sleep. And then there's times I dream. The ones I don't like, I'll be 100% true, which people, scientists, people, whoever will say is because you influenced it or whatever. It's the stuff that I dream about and then it comes true. And I'm like, why'd I have to dream that dream? Then I feel a little bit of guilt. Or I don't read, this is going to sound stupid, but I never read my horoscope anymore. And I haven't did that since high school, which has been, you know,
It was a little
30
too
years.
real?
Yeah, everything I read would happen. It's like, well, you're making it happen, they would say. Well, I'm not, no, I'm not. I'm trying to avoid this. And it keeps happening. I'm like, I'm done with it.
usually those are good.
No, it's
Okay.
Not
Not
always,
They can
no.
be good or
Sometimes
bad.
When I decide to look,
They
I'm
can be like a
"Alright."
warning, like, hey, you know,
Yeah.
be careful who you talk to, or be careful
Yeah.
who you
I've had a
indulge
few of
with
those.
information because
Yeah.
there's a saboteur
Yeah.
in
I
your
mean, it was
midst.
simple stuff like that. It just was kept happening and whatever. And it goes back to things like the radio we talked about a minute ago. It's just stuff. Why is that happening? I can't explain it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be happening in theory, but it does.
So don't ever text him his
My what?
Your horoscope.
your horoscope.
I won't read it. I'll go. Okay, delete. I seriously won't. I keep it up. I used
I'll
to read
mix
it
it up
daily.
in there.
'Cause back in the day, there's things called newspapers that were actual. You know,
Yeah.
you held. Remember those?
Yeah.
Not just for dogs that go bathroom on nowadays, but no, I'm kidding. Used to have every day was a horoscope, and I would look at it like, oh, what's going to day be like? And oh crap, it's bad. Oh, that's awesome. And then I try to make the awesome happen, and it never would happen. You know, that to that extent that it
Right.
says it's going to happen. Well, then I started reaching out. They used to sell them in the stores, the little scrolls that would be on next to the counter, and they'd be horoscopes. And I pull them out, read those too. And I'm like, holy crap! Oh, I'm gonna lose my girlfriend, and I lost my girlfriend shortly after. And not like death, but we break up or something stupid. Like your love life's going to take a drastic hit, and I'm not. That's the last thing I wanted at the time.
Sure.
And then it would happen. I'm like, God dang it, why?
Right.
Things were going good, so I thought it's just little things like that. But I know scientists and people, therapists would say, well, you're influencing your life, you're projecting this kind of a thing. Of course, well, yeah, maybe, but what if I'm trying to do the exact opposite,
Yeah.
and it still happens?
Yeah.
How do you explain that one? So.
I was always interested when reading some of these, you know, when you're in school and you take a science class or a higher level mathematics class. And one of the first things they'll always tell you is, well, this specific theory or specific whatever was developed by this person. And you're like, what were they smoking to have these thoughts about
Oh,
these
yeah.
things? And then
100%.
how on earth could they prove them?
Right.
You know, so in my opinion, forgive me, scientists, is that there's got to be, everything has to be somewhat flawed.
Mm-hmm.
To a certain
Possibly.
extent, it has to be. It has to be because we're not all knowing beings. We're human beings, but we believe in our science to the max. We do.
Which is crazy because we only know as far as we can go on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're just a flick of dust floating around in this universe, and we only know as far as we can go. We think we know all the answers
Yeah.
to everything.
Yeah.
When that's why anything beyond this, it either doesn't exist or it's just not possible with, or they're going to be just, dominating over us because they're super high intelligent or something, But either way, we only know as far as we can go from this little ball of dust, really.
So last year, I had a family member who passed away, and this specific family member had been in the hospital for months. We knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So when it happened, the body was still in the actual room for probably an hour for family to come and pay their final respects before the hospital moves them. And I don't know if you all have ever been around a dead body. Whatever was there, whatever light was there, is long gone at this point.
Right.
So, do you think paranormal activity happens in cemeteries? Because whatever was there is now long gone. So it's just it literally is. It's a corpse. This is where we lay a bunch of
That's a good
corpses.
question. We
This
just
is one of my
talked about that.
favorite. Go ahead.
Yeah.
love
I
this.
used to think that when we first started the team, way back when, Jesus, 12 years ago now, something like that. I used to think it would be the biggest waste of time to go investigate a cemetery. Because, I mean, what the hell is a ghost going to be doing there?
Right.
I mean, really. But I have to admit, some of the cemeteries we've been in, we've had some significant experiences there.
Yeah.
And all the way from not just evidence caught on, like EVP, that type of thing, but actual sightings of things, disembodied voices. At the Ark City Cemetery one time, I had a millimeter that was spiking up. It would spike up to 500 milligauss or more. That's a high reading.
Yeah, very high
That was my
rating.
next question. Is that high?
Yes, that's a very high
very
reading. Most of the time, we're getting readings of we get excited over a 0.1 reading sometimes,
Okay.
but we're talking 500.
500 point something.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's even, you figure normal ratings usually about in a room would be 0 to maybe a 0.2.
Is
That's
this the thing you guys showed me?
basic.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's pretty basic.
the black one that's propped up, that had the temperature and everything that I was holding.
Yes.
So the thing starts to climb. And
500?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
500.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it
Wow.
actually
Found
got
Jesus.
at one point in time the magnetic field right there got so high that it could not register.
Wow.
It pegged the millimeter out.
So what are you
never
thinking
I
when you see
never
that?
could explain that. Could not there. I mean, there was no power source. When you see an EMF reading like that, you start looking for an unshielded power source.
Right.
Power lines, transformers, underground power line, nothing. And it wasn't constant. It was intermittent. It would come and go.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was only around this one certain mausoleum.
Right. We had something similar, not in a graveyard, but in the actual basement of a house in Wichita here, where Ben and Claire were walking around, they had the millimeter going out, and it pegged all of a sudden from 0.1 or something to I can't remember, 200 or something. It was like, holy crap, like that kind of reaction. Like, wow, what is this? What, and trying to figure out, and then as soon as it was there, it was gone. So they moved to the next room, and Jason and I were standing there facing this dark area still. But then a second after they had walked out, something comes up to, it was right in our face and just went, "Ugh." And we were like, holy shit, you know what I'm talking about? No, yeah, we're like, looking like, did you just hear that, dude? And we're staring at pitch blackness, so nothing's there, and we're like, did you just hear that? What the hell was that we just heard? He's like, yeah, I heard it, it's on recording. So my question is to that, maybe that was something trying to get enough energy to build up to even, okay, I'm dead, but something trying to build up the energy to even create that such a force in our face, even though when it was proved by the millimeter spiking.
Yeah.
That shouldn't spike in an area that had nothing there that would create that phenomenon.
Is there any way to measure humans? To measure what our natural state is?
It should be probably 0, I would think, or
It
0.1.
should be.
Unless there's instances where maybe energy's on us, or maybe some things near us or attached to us, even where that if I went to you and all of a sudden I can pinpoint all of a sudden, whoa, it keeps climbing on you, and I take it over here, it doesn't go on him or him or him. Well, maybe something's on you already. Some kind of energy.
There have been documented accounts of people. I've heard preachers talk about this, that they couldn't wear battery operated watches.
Right.
Psychics.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I would love to get a millimeter around someone like that, because these people say they can only wear a wind up watch because
Right. dies.
they'll put a brand new battery in a watch and it'll just get zapped within a day.
So what's their explanation for that?
It would have to be some sort of a magnetic field. A magnetic field has an effect on batteries.
Sure.
But I mean, that's the only thing I could come up with. But you know, it would be really cool to get the chance to study.
Yeah.
I wonder if Lena has had anything
She's
like
online
that.
right now, by the way.
I wonder,
Yeah.
Lena,
Have you had this?
yeah, have you had this happen before? You know.
Who's this?
Yeah, explain to Lena.
So Lena is a friend of the team. Met her many years ago.
Probably 10 years ago.
Many years ago. She's friends with Kathy Ramirez. Goes towards a Kansas owner.
Okay, cool.
She is.
Metaphysics. What would you call her?
She's a medium,
A psychic healer. Kind
a
of?
psychic medium.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
She does tarot cards and everything.
Does
and
she do Reiki? Reiki healings?
I don't
Yes, she does do
Does
Reiki.
I didn't
Yeah.
know she
Okay.
did. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't want to answer.
But she, you know,
Actually, she just recently got her certification as a Reiki
I
master.
didn't know that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's right.
So
That is
yeah,
cool.
But she's actually going to be in Dodge City with us on,
Yes.
on the 14th. She's going to be out there, and she's been out to a few of our events and everything.
Been
And
to
just,
Wilson.
I've seen her in act. We watched her in action at the Broadview one time.
Oh, cool.
Kathy had her. No, that wasn't Lena.
She
that,
just
was, that was
chimed-
another one. That was
she-
another.
she-
That was not the
What she
Broadview.
said?
she
Sorry.
just commented. She says she can't wear watches; that she kills them.
There you go.
So
She did it in Wilson with us. She did it at Eldridge and Lawrence with us.
What
Yeah.
about what about her cell phone? Can she have a cell phone around her long?
I don't know.
Do you think that individuals like that are able to
Interesting.
tap into something that they're so intuitive? You know, I mean, if they're already empathic or they're psychic, maybe they're tapping into an energy source that most of us are not able to. Is that possible?
Well, she uses a spirit guide
yeah,
Okay.
that maybe
So maybe the
has
spirit
that.
guide is what
What
is
her-
making those spikes happen.
could be.
could be.
That's just something we don't really know 100%. I mean, we've never really tested our, you know.
Yeah.
This is all just hypothetical.
Sure.
We're having a
Sure.
conversation, but I mean, I don't know if you have any input on that.
you know, I've wanted for a long time to
Sweet, good time.
Oh, that's cool. I've wanted for a long time to have a chance to sit down and just put every piece of equipment we have around someone like that while they do a reading or while, especially like with Lena, I think
Yeah.
it'd be fascinating to put everything we can around her while she's doing a Reiki treatment.
That'd be cool.
Other things that we've talked about, you know, hell, I'd like to set up around a witch's coven,
Yeah.
and just take every measurement we can while they're doing a ritual of some sort.
That would be amazing.
You know,
Even voodoo, like
yeah,
that.
exactly, yeah,
That's
yeah.
Next show.
not?
Just to see what we can measure.
Yeah.
Try to come up with ideas of, okay, there's obviously something going on that we haven't been able to measure. How can we measure it?
Right.
You know, just I think that would be
Do you
that would
sense
be
a
a
different
blast.
energy around these people? Do you feel differently around?
I do.
Around this-
Yeah,
around
I
this
do.
lady.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the energy can vary, you know, because it's not just an interaction with their particular energy, but the for instance, the spirit guide that follows her, anyone that's wanting to communicate with, because she's a medium as well, anyone that's wanting to communicate with someone that she's talking to
Yeah.
that may show up at that time, you're gonna feel the effects from their energy as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's.
I want to speak on Lena's posting answers to us. We're asking the questions.
Thank you, Lena.
She said she's a doctor. She's a doctor of metaphysics. Is it Reiki? Is that how you say it? Is it Reiki?
Reiki, yeah, Reiki.
Psychic medium. She also teaches Reiki. But she also said she can use cell phones, but she has to keep chargers handy. She says I often kill phones during my phone readings.
Tell her thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you. She's
answering
listening.
that.
Yeah, so appreciate her answer. I wanted to go back to you asked this before this burned up all this questions right or talk right now. You asked about cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I'm like Jeremiah, I had the same belief, and I say this over and over too, but I never believed, I'm like, why would a cemetery be haunted? Why would a morgue be haunted?
Exactly.
I mean, those are fine resting places. You didn't die there, you had nothing attachment to it. I never believed in any cemetery until we went to the telephone and I said, called my name out. When I had so many unexplained experiences down there, I couldn't physically, like physical stuff. Like we were in the middle of the cemetery, there was no snow in the forecast, nothing like that. Now, snow can pop up anywhere, it happens. But it was, I mean, it was cold out, but it wasn't, there was no moisture in the air. That we knew of. All of a sudden, we get to a certain spot by a grave that we were looking for, and it just starts snowing straight down in a straight band. You could step out of it, step back in it. It was like, it was the weirdest thing ever.
No way.
I kid you not, it was the weirdest thing ever. It only happened for that, and then it quit. But it's because we were looking for certain, we were talking to the guys back at our base camp, asking, what are we supposed to be looking for? Who are we supposed to ask for? There's certain things we had to go look for, and there was things that were out of the norm that were kind of pointing us in that direction. There was like one time they were talking on the phone to Jeremiah. He was back at base camp. We're supposed to ask for a certain person. I go, I see these red dots back in the corner, left corner of the cemetery, and I'm not part of the conversation. Of the phone call. It was just Ben, one of our guys on there. He was talking directly to Jeremiah only. I couldn't hear what Jeremiah was saying. I had no idea. See these red dots. I thought it was an animal back there glowing. I'm like, what are we looking at? Staring at. We know there's also a report of something that charged another guy in the cemetery. Like actually physically was going to charge him, and then dissipated. So anyways, he gets off the phone. I'm like, man, there's red dots back there. And he goes, okay, that's where, I think the guy's name was James. That's where James is buried. And I'm like, where? And he points directly back to that location. Like something was telling us it's back over here kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Now, a few of us at the time only seen the red lights until the very last time we went down there, because these guys had never been to the cemetery ever. And Jeremiah had before, and I had been obviously there too. And we took them there, and that night we all saw the same phenomenon.
Yeah.
We all saw the red lights, we saw green lights, we saw whatever color lights, but there was one time I remember, and it made me laugh. I'm like, I see the red lights or whatever. I think I'm saying it, and I think Jeremiah or somebody says, I do too. And then I'm going, it's right over there. And he goes, it's right over there. We're pointing two different directions.
No way.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, I'm pointing this way, you're pointing that way. And then somebody else says, yeah, it's over here. And you just see it, and it's happening everywhere. But it's not like, and they're moving lights. Like, if you go to our YouTube page on Everyday Legacy Paranormal for YouTube, the video's on there.
Can you see the lights?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now people are saying, "Oh, it's a bug, it's an insect." The thing is, though, we have to move from spot to spot because we're trying to track this thing down. And at one point, I physically stopped. So I'm holding the camera, and all of a sudden, this thing just comes darting past us. It like bounces. It's not an insect, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's probably a firefly or anything like that, or whatever you want to call it." Thing is, we're filming in full spectrum, which is purple. That looks purple on view on camera. These things are giving off the actual colors. So it should have been a purple.
Yeah.
You see the red one, you see the green one, you see like a whitish color one, and they're all
You
there.
tell me you don't believe in UFOs.
But it's something that we could never figure out, and it only happened. It's happened in other locations, not to this magnitude, not that everybody saw it. Sometimes you don't see it.
Right.
So if you guys believe then that certain energies, certain spirits more or less, can be attached to an object, okay?
Right.
How come they can't be attached to a body?
They can.
They can.
So maybe that would possibly explain.
Yeah.
You know,
And we've been doing a lot of, because I take the ghost tour into Maple Grove Cemetery,
okay.
which is one of the
That was
oldest.
one.
And I mean, it's not right across the street is the oldest in Wichita, but
Is that by Wichita State?
it's south of there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
By Wesley.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
just south of Wesley and all that. So you have Highland Cemetery, which is the oldest, and then you're dating from like 1860s, 70s to
That's got a reputation.
and all that, and then
Yeah.
Maple Grove is the bigger one that has a lot more of the mausoleums and everything like
The
that.
mausoleums, yes.
While we've been out there giving, we don't do anything. I just tell the history of the place, and
We
then I
walk
tell
around.
people, go out. You're here at the cemetery. Go have some fun.
Mhm.
Walk around, and there's footsteps in the grass that no one can explain near you. You're not walking, but yet you hear all of a sudden you hear that. We've seen people have told us that they've seen like a gray mist or cloud that's going up and over some of the tombstones
Yeah,
out there. There's been voices out there, lights. I mean,
We
even
saw the blue light out there on a tour, and I always saw this thing
Yeah.
in the distance, and I'm like, okay, it's just something stationary. On my mind, I'm thinking it's something by a grave, like a marker light
Yeah.
lit up, but then it starts to move, and it moves, and then it trails, and I'm looking at this thing, and then one of our other investigators that's not here tonight, he's like, hey, Leo, do you see that light? I'm like, you're seeing what I'm seeing too? And then the guests were saying, I saw that light. It's a blue light, and they point to it. So I'm like, okay, it's just not me seeing this thing moving. It's not a flashlight. There's nobody in there because they'd have to go once again past us to get in there. It's
Yeah.
just all of a sudden in the distance, this blue light comes up. We tried going towards it, and it moves away, kind of a thing. And it's like, what the hell's out here with us in a cemetery?
So that if it's moving, especially away, it's gotta be conscious.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
what it
true.
was. I mean, I still can't figure out to this day. Is the one I came with you when we drove in our own cars, I think.
Do red eyes mean run?
No, actually, no. It wouldn't be run too for us, but no. I want to give a shout out to Lena. She just posted her thing. It's called Peaceful Whispers. That's what it's her own personal site. So if you ever want to visit that, people at home, and she's great about setting up appointments with people and doing readings for you and things of that nature. And like I said, she'll be with us in Dodge and
Yeah.
a couple of locations in the future. That it's fun to watch her because I like to see people's reactions. I mean, she did one on our team that
Yeah,
we didn't know was even happening.
she does a group reading.
Yeah.
So before the event actually starts, she'll do her thing where she's actually people who want to come in and sit down. She'll just do a big room reading, and it's awesome to hear her hit on certain people. She's asking questions, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's my uncle," or "That's my brother." That just happened to me yesterday, that kind of thing. And it's really
It's
fascinating.
amazing to sit back and watch.
Yeah.
I bet it is.
It brings people to
No.
tears sometimes.
Nothing against you, but Lena, but I'll be sitting back there because I find her so intriguing.
Right. I think
And
we all do.
I mean, it's amazing. But if she ever looks at me, I'll be like, like look the other direction, because it's like, is she seeing something that's next to me, or does she know something I probably should know?
Yeah.
So she's an amazing lady to watch.
I think
she really is.
my favorite thing about Lena was when we were in Wilson and we were there outside because they're doing the group reading. We went outside just let her do her thing, and we were just kind of game planning for the night, what we're gonna do.
Get
the
your mind set for
investigation.
what we're about to do.
So she's asking, she's like looking for somebody like a lion. Some guy keeps coming up to me and says his name's Larry, and we're like, okay. We were outside, we didn't hear this, and so somebody comes out and grabs us and said, they're looking for you guys. We're like, why? And because Larry's looking for you, we all stopped and we're like, Larry?
What?
He was one of our teammates that passed away in May
heard
last
about this,
year,
yeah.
and the last place he investigated with us was in Wilson.
Yeah.
And he said the lion. He's like, and I walk in. She goes, there he is, the lion, Leo. My name's Leo. The lion, my big
Yeah.
beard, looks
Yeah.
like a lion.
Yeah.
He's like, looks kind of like Merle Haggard with his big old beard. And I'm like, holy shit, that sounds like Larry. And he said something. He said, I just want you to know that he's here with you guys and he supports you guys, kind of thing. And it always crossed my mind. Whatever, I don't want to, use any of our, especially like a teammate, use them for our own benefit. But I was curious. I always thought about somebody passed away, reaching out to him, but I never have. And the fact that he's actively searched us out and said, "Hey, here, guys." It was kind of emotional for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, for me,
I'm with you on the whole,
and she never met Larry.
whether or not to do it or anything
Yeah.
like that. But at the same time, I know Larry would. I mean, he just loved this stuff so much.
Yeah.
He was a paramedic
Yep.
for all of, his whole career. He was an instructor, all this stuff. He'd seen some bad things in his life, but he was always intrigued by what we did. And I've known him since I was 19.
yeah.
And him and his wife, and they became members of the
God,
team.
how long's that been?
Long time. I'm 40 now, so
How old are you?
I'm still younger than you guys. I'm
Shut
just
up.
older than him.
40.
Old guys. Yeah, I'm 40.
Never would have guessed that.
So,
Never would have guessed that.
We're all
But,
a little over 40. I think some of us.
I always like to feel that Larry would, he'd
Yeah.
probably enjoy it
Yeah.
to be included with it and everything like that. And that's just knowing and talking to him over the years about
Oh, yeah.
how much
Yeah.
he loved this. And he'd always get kind of upset if we weren't fully active like every weekend or every
Right.
day. He wanted
Drinking
to,
it.
and
Yeah.
if we stalled for like a month
Yeah.
or so because either no one had time or anything, he'd always be texting me like, "What are we doing?"
Uh-huh.
I never will forget when I was just getting active again with the team 5-6 years ago. We went out to Granola,
Yeah.
and he rode with me on that trip out there.
So he went
Granola?
twice. He went twice, didn't he?
To Renola?
Because he rode with me the first time, then
He
he
was.
was out there to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Because I never was out there with you, so that's
Yep.
cool.
And
That's cool.
so he rode with me, and he was just sitting. He was just quiet as could be the whole drive. Because I knew he had health problems. I just wanted to make sure he wasn't feeling bad or something. You know, so I was, are you okay, Larry? You doing okay? And yeah, I'm just excited. Just getting geared up. Just getting psyched up. You know, just.
Yeah.
Amped up. I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah, I would love to speak to Lena one of these days. I never believed in anything like that until when I lived in a small town in eastern Tennessee. There's a very famous psychic who he worked with a lot of celebrities and whatnot. His name was Bobby Drennan, and he's passed away recently. But some of the things he said to me,
Oh, wow.
he did a special thing for me. I think on my 25th or 26th birthday. So this was a while ago. Changed my life.
Oh, wow.
I've never experienced it, and I would keep that personal between
Yeah,
Bobby
you're
and I.
fine.
But man, so I believe there are people out there definitely sensitive
Yeah.
to what.
Yeah, that's the way I know these guys have talked about Lena a lot, but that's really the way I feel about Lena. I mean, she's number one, she's just simply the most gifted psychic I've ever dealt with, and I've dealt with a few of them in you know, doing this over the years. Yeah, she just always, I've had a few readings from her, and she just always seems to know exactly where to pull the right stuff to say, you know, to pull, you know, get me to pull my head out of my ass and, you know, start moving forward again. So,
It's a tall order, right? To get your head out of your ass.
well, you know,
Well, Lena can do it. Yeah, no, I've had conversations with her just casual. I've never sat down and done any of her readings. I would like to one of these days. I just never have. I know some of the people in the group have, and they're blown away. You have or haven't?
Haven't.
Haven't
Yeah,
you?
I haven't.
Yeah, I thought you had to.
I don't think I
Nope.
want to.
No, I know
No, not
Renee
yet.
has. Who's watching at home?
Yeah,
I think
I
Max
was
has.
always-
My son has. My son is 7.
Did he do it?
Cody, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that I'm terrified of what she's going to say or anything. I'm waiting for a certain key or a sign when it's time to do it.
Sure,
Kind of thing. And I'm
absolutely.
just right now I'm comfortable. I'll let her do her thing, and I support her 100%. It's just, there's a time when our paths will cross
Absolutely.
that way. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I wish I had that. Once again, I wish I had that level of gift or whatever
too.
talent. You
Right,
know,
right.
it's just
Yeah.
like,
and
and sometimes I'm glad I don't.
and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not, but I've often wondered if a person with that type of a gift or that level of a gift has the ability to pull it to tap into what's called the Akashic record. You guys, are y'all familiar with that
I've
principle?
heard of it,
I
yeah.
have all the albums, yes.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Go ahead.
And that would even, I mean, that could even tie back to what we were talking about a while ago with deja vu and whatnot. You know, the Akashic record being the record, for those of you at home that aren't sure or haven't heard of it, the Akashic record is basically a kind of a universal record of everything, every piece of knowledge that has ever been had, is had now, or will be had in the future. It's everything all rolled up into one
Right.
universal record. And so, I mean, it.
And where's that at?
You can buy it on,
I wish I
Amazon or
knew.
eBay.
I wish I knew. It's, you know, and it
So
has.
how do we know it's there?
It has a basis in mythologies and religions. Almost every major religion has some
Yeah.
version of the Akashic record.
Right.
Does that
It's
tie
kinda-
back
it's
to
kinda like, you know,
Atlantis and all
rough
that stuff?
Thumbprint or fingerprint.
What's that?
Does that tie back to Atlantis and all that?
Yeah,
'Cause I've heard
I mean,
people mention, you know, that and Atlantis together.
and in fact, yeah, it was one of the prevailing theories is that the Atlanteans, you know, had the ability to tap into the
Right.
Akashic record, and that's why they were so much more advanced.
Yeah.
So.
It can be
I mean,
interesting.
you got Aquaman down there. So
Yeah.
anything's possible, right?
Any other questions for us?
I've got the big one.
Go ahead, ask. We've got a few time. We got some minutes left.
And we can go over too.
Yeah,
we
there's
started a
nothing
little
that
bit
says-
late
Okay.
today.
Yeah, nothing says we.
I just want one at a time. What do you guys think happens when we die? The big one.
worm food. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
That basic answer is very similar to what Neil deGrasse Tyson said happens.
Oh, I love Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Well,
He's
I mean,
awesome.
your physical body, yes, but what the actual,
Yeah.
whether you call it spirit, whether it's the energy of you, we have recordings of and stuff of things that are apparently of this figure. Now, what realm they're in, don't know. Is this heaven or hell right now that we're in, or what state are they in? We don't know. You know, but they're obviously, some of them, like at the forum, they're there for a reason, and they're either roaming around. I mean, we've heard crying, we've heard screams, we've heard all that. What are they there for?
Do you think that now with what is in that building now, do you think they're still having experiences?
Yeah.
They actually reached out to me right after they bought it, shortly after, out of the blue. I mean, I've never talked to these people ever, and wanted to know if we had video of the.
Before you say that,
Oh, good.
we actually tried to contact
Oh,
them
that's right.
because I still have a key to the building. They don't know that, but I
They
still
do now.
do.
They do now.
Yeah. And I tell everybody on the
Change your
on
locks.
the tours that too, you know. It's like, I have a key to that. I never carry it around with me. But we reached out to them and they were just flat out, nope, click. You know.
It's just-
I've,
which I
I've
understand.
tried to call twice myself, and
Which we never go in. We will never go into a place that we're not asked to. So don't.
Yeah.
The key thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we never break in. I'm
I'm
not
just
out there
it's
because
just the fact that I had it
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden
we
you
were
know,
giving
you
it to
can't
by
do
the
it
previous owners
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they changed a lot. But anyway.
I think. But so out of the blue, and this is probably a year after they reached out. These guys reached out to him. I got an email and said, "Hey, just curious. Do you have any video of this place?" I'm like, I said, "Why?" I just thrown it back at him. Why? Because my brain instantly is like, "What's going on?" You know, like you asked.
Yeah.
Things are happening or intensifying now. That's changed a little bit. I said, "Why? You have anything going on there?" "Oh no. We're just curious." I'm like, "Well, I do, but I mean, it's on night vision." "Oh, okay." They didn't ask for it. I mean, they didn't really say, you know, can we have it, or, you know, can I see it? I'm like, well, you know, what are you gonna do for me, kind of a thing. I want to get back in because I know what's there. We know what's there.
And the thing is, since it's been turned back into a church,
Okay, so that's okay to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's public knowledge. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
it's-
I mean, they got a sign out there and everything. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
it is what
I
it
didn't know
is.
if you guys talked about what it was.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
million times
Oh
over.
yeah. I tell everybody, you know, because it's one of my stops on the tour.
Yeah.
Whether they like it or not, I still do it
You
Yeah.
can't go
because we were on the property for years,
right.
and we have years of evidence that we could even prove to them that we had this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while I've been doing tours since then, and even private tours where I'm just pulling up in just my car and I have like 3 or 4 people in my car and I'm telling them stories, I've sat out there where I know, because I drive around to show them, you know, what it looks like and everything like that. And there's no cars out there. It's completely locked up. It's dark.
Nighttime.
It's dark. It's
Yeah.
night. It's 10 o'clock at night.
After hours.
And all of a sudden, like, the light in the basement will come on as I'm telling stories of the place, and then that'll go off, and then the third floor will come on. Down, it'll turn off, and then boom.
It
It's
knows
just
you
it's
guys
like
are there.
lights are coming on and off
Yeah, it knows
all
you're
over.
there.
And then I've been on the bus tour where I'm telling the stories and everything, and then several people on there saw a figure inside. They actually seen somebody like move across and they're like, "Did you see that?" You know, I know there's stuff still going
Do you
on.
think that because it is now a home of God and a spiritual place, do you think it bothers your pastors or whatnot that there are supernatural events? And I mean, from what you guys have said and from what the previous owners have said, evil things that happen there,
Yeah,
not just
I mean-
supernatural things, evil things.
I think it's also a state of mind. They don't
Right.
they
They
don't
believe
dive
it.
into it. They won't believe in it, and they don't
Right.
want to have anything to do with
Yeah.
it. So whatever happens,
Well, they've
they
got to know something if they reached out to Leo.
True.
Yeah,
Maybe
out of
they're
the blue.
maybe they're turning.
True.
As far
Yeah.
as their,
Yeah.
you can only deny something like
Right.
that for so long.
Right. I mean, when a 150-pound oak door gets picked up and tossed across a hallway,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, that
Yeah.
how do you explain that away?
Oh,
There
my gosh.
there was
Intense.
I performed there
Did
yeah.
you?
years ago, so I would have been 18 or 19.
Oh, wow.
So, and I mean, this must have been before our friends purchased
yeah.
it. Back when it was a music venue.
Yeah, oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean, it was always a church
Yeah.
at some
Yeah.
point, but it was a music venue at that moment in time, and that's gotta be. I mean, if it's staring at you in the face,
They,
only
Does she
so
ever
many-
mention to you if anything's still at their house?
From that place?
like they've moved since then.
Right,
So,
I know, but I just wondered if
Right.
it followed because it followed them the first time.
Yeah, I don't know about that, you know,
It may be long enough now that maybe it's disconnected.
but
I'd have to check into that. I don't think so, but I'd have to check about that. I know that.
Maybe something to talk about over a cookie.
but what? But going back to your question though, going back to your question, what's your thought?
On death?
Yeah,
I don't know if I have a solid answer.
Are you scared?
No, I don't want to die. Anytime
sure.
soon. I mean, I'm enjoying my life too much that I know I hear a lot of people I've talked to, young and old. I don't want to live to 100. That's what they say. I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to live 150. I don't want to die anytime soon. I got too much stuff on this earth to do still.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's good, bad, whatever it is, I just want to live.
Yeah.
So, not scared. I would say don't want to. I don't want to die, like I said, anytime soon. I don't know what to think about death. I
Sure.
mean, itself, other than we deal with it every day.
But you're
Personally,
confident that there is something.
I don't honestly know.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know honestly. I would like to think there's more than just that. I mean,
Mm.
but how do we know? How will we ever know?
Yeah.
Unless somebody
And
says
we
I've
won't, yeah.
come back from the dead, and
Mm.
successfully,
Yeah.
and not a zombie.
I mean, you have a lot of people who do that whole life after,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the white light kind of. a
the
thing.
white light, or they live
Yeah.
after that, and they tell their story. But is that just a conscious thing because that's what you're expecting?
Could be chemicals.
You know,
Yeah, you don't
It
know.
could be-
Neurons firing.
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, you're already
Endorphins
The-
going
the-
crazy.
The oxygen depletes in your brain and
Because the
whatnot.
body knows. The body knows it's coming.
Mhm.
There's a sense of peace that takes over. That's unexplainable.
Right.
And people will talk to things that aren't there. or
Yeah.
whatnot. Something chemically is happening in the body.
Right.
Right.
We don't know what it is. We know
Right.
that we know certain things. We know that certain chemicals are excreted more at that moment in
Sure.
time,
Right.
but we don't know why. So the
Right.
body knows it's coming.
Mhm.
Right.
But there's always so many stories of people who want to feel good about what's to come. So therefore, it's already embedded in your mind. When you pass, you're either going to go here, or you're going to go there, and you're
Yeah.
always hoping that it's going to be here, even if you're a dick the whole time in life.
Yeah.
So it's also subconsciously there because you've had so many stories told to you. This is your purpose, and this is where you're going to go to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that already just a part of your mind when it if you are having a heart attack and all of a sudden you collapse, is your mind just or you get hit by the car, that last second your brain goes into that moment of let's think of something good.
Yeah.
So that's what you see.
Mhm.
I don't know, but that's where my brain goes with that.
Yeah.
What about you, Rod?
I'm kind of the same way that Leo is. I don't know. I guess where I have frustration with stuff, and I've been told maybe I need to open myself up a little bit to it more, is that I've had really close people that have passed on
Sure.
that know I do this. I'm not necessarily talking Leo. I'm talking like my
that's
grand,
what
in the last year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
No, you do what?
paranormal.
Yeah.
Where
Like right when you
good
said that,
friends,
you go,
yeah,
they know I do this.
I've
They're
did
like,
that
"Oh, is this
before.
a-"
He did that too.
and like for instance, if we all
Yeah.
became, I would hope one of us three here in this group would come see me
Right.
because we all have that same question.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like Larry.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I haven't had that answer.
Yeah.
Right.
So as I get older, I go, well, I don't know. But then again, I talk to some of my other family members, and they have.
Yeah.
So that but they've been telling me you need to just open up more.
Yeah.
And I'm going.
Yeah.
Well, and with you, I've seen you from when you first started.
Right.
You didn't hear or see anything.
Yeah.
You just love the stories. The more you've done this, the more you've opened yourself up to the investigations and knowing what to look for and hear and see.
Right.
And you're starting to be more in tune with stuff that's
Right.
happened, even going back to that recent home investigation that you did.
Yeah, and you also start to believe a little bit of Bigfoot, maybe.
Yeah. After Tahlequah.
The more you do,
Yeah.
the more you
Yeah.
learn.
Jeremiah, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that question?
I think, and this is going back to my upbringing
course.
and certain just beliefs I've held basically all my life. But I believe that's the time when there are a lot of choices to be made. Some choices get made for you, and some choices you're able to make yourself. But at that time, at that moment of that release, I believe there's something else out there. I believe, if you're in a proper spiritual or mental, emotional place, I believe you can actually even stick around here to help guide people, give people wisdom. If you're not in such a great place, you could be stuck as an earthbound spirit for a while. Like the ones that we catch.
Being grouchy.
Yeah.
Do you think? That
And there's other. I'm sorry.
Do you think that everyone does eventually transcend to whatever's next? Or
Well, that's the hope. That's the hope.
Here forever.
No, I don't think. Because back to science. We know this is at best a temporary place. Maybe a long temporary, but it's still just a temporary place.
Yeah. That's natural. It's his son.
Cody.
Yeah. His
Oh.
son, yeah.
So
And we end with this
we're talking millions of years temporary,
Right.
but it's still just a temporary
Sure.
place. But the laws of physics also teach us that energy cannot be created or destroyed in any
Right.
normal reaction. So
Thermodynamics.
where does that energy go? What happens to it? Well, I believe this is some of the things that I've been taught
Sure.
to believe and have
Right.
through experience adopted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What about you? What are your take?
I don't know.
That's because it's
I don't
curious.
know.
to see the
I'm
question.
terrified. That's why
Yeah.
that's why I pursue this. That's my biggest fear. It's my
Yeah.
biggest fear is that, and it's funny because if there isn't anything after this,
Right.
you'll never know.
Exactly.
You'll never know.
Right.
So it's kind of, and I've talked to physicians about this.
Mhm.
My cardiologist, she tells me this stuff like, I don't know why you're concerned about that. It's,
wanna die.
You'll never know if there isn't anything. And she makes good points about why there is something more than that. She's a very religious individual.
Sure.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting.
And I'm for some reason, I don't know why, I'm so scared that there is nothing.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be something.
But then again,
Maybe
there
there
are atheists will tell you that humans are just arrogant, thinking
Yeah.
that we're anything unique at all. Sometimes I wish I was a dog because they're just happy where they're at.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not concerned about death. But for
Right.
some reason, we as Homo sapiens are advanced enough to ponder these questions where I don't think others in the animal kingdom are.
What if dogs do though?
Maybe they do.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying
maybe
that
they
out
do.
too.
We would never know.
We're not a dog. I hope I never come back as a dog, but if
Yeah.
there's reincarnation.
My dog has a good life.
Cool.
I gotta live good in this life to get to him in the
Nice.
next life.
You're okay with it? Were you gonna say something, Jesse?
Oh, I was just gonna say that there has to be something
Why? Why does there have to be?
because we're encountering it when we go do this stuff.
What if
What
it's-
are these voices? What is
Well,
all this stuff?
it's
Now
not
that was
a-
my
hearing?
question
it's
to
not a
you,
tangible
Leo, when you
body.
said you didn't know exactly what it was, and
I mean,
and
you
I
don't
said,
know
well,
what it is.
Would you,
Right.
do you think that there's something? You said, I don't know. So then, if there's not something, what are you encountering when you guys go to these
Well,
things?
that's just it. We don't know 100% because once again,
Mm.
people, we have the equipment we use is not. I mean, yeah, it's now getting more modernized to do ghost hunting, but it wasn't originally set up for that.
Oh,
What if it's just energy? What if it's just like you said when we talked about the residual, which is just a thumbprint playing over and over in history?
Yeah, it could just
that you
be a
can't
moment in
touch it?
time
I mean,
that you're hearing.
it's a lot of what ifs. and
Could be
answers.
radio waves. I was always thought
That
about
too.
that with
Yeah.
EVPs.
Sure.
Are they
Because
are you picking
See, I
up
find
radio waves?
that one hard to believe because of the two incidences. One, the Candle Club,
yeah,
and number two, Halstead,
Right.
because the names have a big storyline
Yeah.
with the woman that lives there.
yeah. I mean,
And
when,
what if-
when
what
you're
if you-
hearing names being called
And
out and
the
stuff like that,
the
it's,
chances of that,
Mm.
those two names of that happening are slim to me. You know,
What if
Especially-
you're hearing what you want to hear though? What if it's not really what you're hearing?
I don't think so.
I'm just saying that out
Yeah.
there too. Cause
I'm not smart enough for that.
Well, no, but not
Seriously,
I'm,
I
what
mean-
I'm
I
saying
mean-
is not actively, subconsciously, it's just happening. What
Kind
if
of
it's
like
something
maybe
you just-
the
it
Ouija
is-
board.
Yeah, I mean,
see what you're
I mean,
saying if you go that
I'm just
route.
throwing some answer
Yeah.
stuff out there. I'm not saying one way or the other.
Yeah.
I say it's this or that. It's just I'm just throwing what ifs out there because there's a lot of what ifs that we. The day that somebody discovers exactly what a ghost is, the day we'll probably all have to stop doing this because then, what's the purpose or what's the point at that? Maybe I'm just throwing that out there
And
too.
that's a spirit appearing and sitting down and talking.
Right.
Saying, oh, this
We
is
can
what
create it,
happens.
We will have
whatever.
one hell of a game show host or,
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
late night show. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, no. And just so
You
you,
know?
just so you know, I still feel like I'm still skeptical in all this, and I've been doing this for almost 10 years. Well, with the group, about almost 10 years, but I've been researching it years before that, and
Yeah.
reading up on it, watching the shows, whatever you want to call it, and I still don't know what sometimes I'm looking at or staring at,
Yeah.
or talking to for that matter. It still scratches. That sometimes leaves me scratching my head.
Yeah.
Which is fun. So. I think it's about that time, guys. I hate to cut this off. We were having such great conversations.
Yeah.
We have to have you come
We need
back
to do
one of
this
these days if you
again.
want to,
Absolutely.
man. 'Cause this is we love it. I mean, we talk off camera all day, every day about this stuff. There's times that Jason and I, especially, will have conversations. Like our wives will look at us like, we'll say we're going
Yeah.
to talk for about an hour or two, and they're like, okay, yeah, right. See you in about 4, and that's 4 is turns into 5. So
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this stuff till we're blue in the face, and it's fun. I mean, it brings up what ifs and answers.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm glad you were here to ask those questions to
Well,
us.
thank you guys
and
for
vice
having
versa.
me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
anytime, man.
Yeah, because there's some more stuff that I want to ask you
Yeah.
later on. So
Cool.
And hopefully I can answer.
has a lot
cool.
to do with what you're wearing right there too.
Oh, we didn't touch that. I forgot
I
about
know.
that.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I even wore I washed this shirt just to wear this today.
People, if you can't see it at home, it's Sally House. It's a place that you have.
This
it's
is
actually it's not
oh,
Sally House.
This
That's
is
Atchison, right?
Glickman Manor, but
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
It's
That's another
Atchison,
place.
Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I said it's a Sally House.
So-
head on.
so
but
the
you've been
next
to Sally
time-
House, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So multiple
So next
Yeah.
time we will
Oh,
talk
even
about
better.
his experiences in Atchison.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Cool.
We
So-
should actually get a couple people on here that had been both, because I think we know 2 or 3 that
At
have been to
least.
that.
yeah,
At least
yeah.
one.
I'd love to
You know, I
get
could
like
step off
both
a
of you
little and let
guys'
a couple other
perspectives
people
of
come on.
what you encountered both at Sally House.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I did have an experience there that
Oh,
I'm
damn it.
trying
See?
to I'm trying to debunk.
I wish you'd have told me that as we get it in. I mean, you did, but I forgot about it.
I
until you
know.
put
We
the shirt
get
out.
we
I'm
get
like,
going. See, we get going. We just
yeah,
never know when to
time
stop.
runs out. So, yep.
Stop it, Ro. Stop it. I know
We'll be here
you're
another
tired.
2 hours talking.
Oh,
this
no,
stuff.
I tried to tell him. I said,
Yeah.
you may just have to push me.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we're about to hit a downward spiral, guys. We're gonna go ahead and get out of this while we're still ahead. So
Don't forget
Don't forget
Go
to
ahead,
pay your
go ahead.
bartenders and
Like
tip your waitresses.
and subscribe. Like our video down below here. Subscribe. Tell your friends about us. If you have any questions or you want to come on the show, let us know. We'll debate you or talk to you all day. And,
Yeah.
we love having guests in studio.
Instead of calling,
call
then maybe
in. Call in.
you can call or
Yeah.
just contact us to see if you want to be on the show.
Yep.
Yep.
So
All right.
take us out.
You guys have a good night. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to come back next week, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will see you then.
Bye.
Come on, transition button. There.